My mom revealed that she hates my girlfriend right after I started ring shopping.
Not the most opportune time. Say that earlier, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not at all.
Yeah. So, my girlfriend and I, 24 male, have been together for 5.5 years. We're getting ready to graduate professional school and finally join all of our friends in the working world. I feel like it's the right time to ask her to marry me. A few weeks back, I told my parents this, and they expressed excitement. By the way, this comes from Throwaway572-6497. And if you want to send in your own story, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit and send it in. Fast forward to this morning when my girlfriend was sitting on my parents' couch and asked if I could refill her coffee as I was already heading into the kitchen. My mom says, "You know, you can say no, right?" in an incredibly rude manner. I'm flabbergasted, and I can tell that my girlfriend is too. She has never once been rude to her and has always come across as sweet and welcoming.
Well, maybe she realizes now, like, they're coming to the gates, they're storming the gates, it's about to be cemented, there's no turning back. She's like, all right, I gotta get this girl that I've been hating for all this time out of my son's face.
It's fine when they're like over on the horizon, across the hills. I can't see them. But
now they're at the castle gates trying to barge on in and steal your little boy, your prized possessions, your family jewels.
Give me the child!
Tear down the walls. Now, I let her roll off my shoulder, maybe thinking that she was just having a bad day. My mom was looking over some plans that she has for a new house renovation and asked if she had shown my girlfriend the new tabletop that she had picked out, which was a very cool wood slab that I know my girlfriend would love. She snaps, "Oh, she's not interested in that." My girlfriend responds that she'd love to see it, and after a sigh, my mom begrudgingly shows her these plans. My girlfriend picks up the hint that apparently she isn't welcome anymore and gets in a hurry to leave. She has to say an awkward goodbye, made worse by my mother being cold and acting like she isn't interested in giving her the normal goodbye hug that she usually does. My girlfriend is even more uncomfortable and rushes through saying goodbye to me right before we won't see each other for the next 5 weeks. We already attend different schools an hour apart, and she has a month-long internship 12 hours away starting next week. My goodness, that's distance. So my dad, 58 male, leaves, and I kind of cornered my mom and confronted her about her behavior.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this?
And it's a switch up. Like, I don't know what's
like
going
you've
on.
been great for so many years. Now suddenly that we're getting married, you're going ape bananas.
What's the dill? Pickle?
What's the dill?
And saying that she's never acted like this before and that she had expressed excitement that my girlfriend will be joining our family in not too long. So what gives? My mom proceeds to tell me that she feels like my girlfriend is incredibly jealous and tries to alienate me from my friends. Her evidence is that I no longer spend time with these two girls I've known since elementary school.
Do those elementary school girls still want you?
That's the question. Who I reconnected with in college. Also, a couple of years ago, we went to a party where my cousin and his friend were also there, and I said that it would be awkward if I just walked into their group. Awkward. The cousin, he and I are on good terms, talk whenever we see each other, and just made plans to hang out soon. His friends, not so much. Very different group with very different interests than me, never associated with each other much, even when we went to the same high school together. On the other girls, more than likely the real reason she's upset. I've known them forever, went through 1st through 8th grade with them. Our moms are close friends. We didn't hang out much after freshman year of high school since we went to different schools. We attended the same university where I met my girlfriend and hung out pretty frequently for a while. Since graduating, we've grown apart and hadn't seen each other for almost 2 years until we went to a college friend's wedding last night. We were friendly, hugged, and said it's been too long, caught up, the whole 9 yards. My girlfriend was involved too, and it was all super friendly. The incident regarding the grudge. So for my 21st birthday, my girlfriend organized a big party and offered to be the designated driver to everyone. She hadn't even turned 21 yet, and all that great stuff. She made me some neat wall arts, and since we were just a couple of broke college kids, the girls in question were invited and gave me a huge personalized adult soda pong table that they worked on together and their dad made.
Wow.
That's a pretty, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
That's a big gift. My girlfriend was upset that they didn't mention this to her and was definitely jealous at the time. I promised not to tell them, got wasted at the bar with my friends, and told one of them how my girlfriend felt. Ooh. I effed it big time, and I betrayed her trust. I owned up to it to the next day when I realized what had happened, and we worked through it. Had a little falling out with the girls. My girlfriend was mortified, and things were awkward for a bit, but we still hung out in a big group after my girlfriend insisted that we shouldn't lose our friendship over this. Cue graduation and growing apart, thinking everyone had gotten over it. This specific incident was brought up when I confronted my mother, and I told her that this was years ago, and I thought that we had all moved on, that my girlfriend actively encouraged us to hang out, but the friend group just dissolved naturally. She's still insistent on this, and that other people and even my dad feel the same way. Small town, everyone talks.
Wait, everyone is talking crap about the girlfriend? And have better things to do?
From, by the way, this incident that happened like 3 to 4 years ago, and it's like such a...
Also, friend groups naturally change and evolve. Like, it's not necessarily any one incident or any one thing. Like, sometimes
they graduate.
People grow. Yeah. And
that is like the most like, it just happens.
You're at different points in your life, you know?
Sorry, you just said graduation.
God dang it. Oh, God.
Did you see your boy's new merch?
Not my boy. Not my merch. And how long do I have to say this, okay? The password's been changed. Riley doesn't know what it is now. Anyways.
New computer or old one?
The new computer.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do need to change that old one. I keep saying that. Anyways. So she sidetracks the conversation and runs away, never has done well with any confrontation. I asked my dad later if he had qualms with my girlfriend, and he said no, that maybe she had a small jealous streak, but that my mom does too, and it wasn't anything that he was concerned about. He said it's 100% what I want. I'm a grown man, and who I want to marry is up to me.
True. Good advice.
Seems good, but I have a...
But you think there's like something under the hood right there.
Yeah. The fact that the whole town's still talking about this 3 years later for like a small... It's very weird. Very weird. The problem is I still love my parents and wish we could be closer. It's hard since I moved out 8 years ago and have always lived at least 2 hours away. I want to be a tight-knit family, but logistically, it's been very hard. Between splitting time with her family, who honestly gets the short end of the stick most of the time, mine, multiple friend groups, and not seeing each other during the week, and obviously wanting a little time to ourselves, we are spread very thin. Not really sure how to proceed, but this really feels like it comes down to my mom and I needing to hash this out. Of course, she ran away to a neighbor's pool after escaping our previous conversation.
What
is with this mom?
Why also, of course? Like, that's a wild place to run to. A neighbor's pool? I've never heard that.
Tell me if I'm reading this right. My guess is that this small town has this just like weird culture and things like, oh, for some reason, mom always goes to the neighbor's pool. People bring up random friend groups, beefs.
Yeah,
3 years.
I mean, there's nothing else to talk about over there, I guess.
I guess so. Like, this is just such a strange, like, everyone is involved in this weird dynamic, it seems. Apologies for the wall of text, but would appreciate hearing some outside opinions. Am I the a-hole? Well, first question, is OP the a-hole? I think an absolute no.
No, definitely not.
He seems to be the only same one in this.
But surrounded by just crazies. I mean, I would go crazy if I had all these people just talking crap around me.
It feels like the movie Don't Worry, Darling, where all this crazy stuff is happening. Someone with Scarlett Johansson and Harry Styles.
Oh,
but all this crazy stuff's happening in this town, and everyone's like, don't notice it. You're the crazy one. You're going crazy.
Is it a horror movie?
It's a thriller. It's kind of scary.
That does feel like this town. I remember seeing the commercials, but I didn't see it. What do we think OP should do here?
I mean, like, I don't know if are we at timeout for the mom yet?
I think before timeout, we need to have a real one-on-one sit down and be like, or like tell the mom, hey, we really need to like sit down and talk about this. And I want to hear like your perspective and start there. Because I feel like we're not getting the full.
And maybe there was some stuff that happened, 3 years ago that the mom doesn't fully comprehend or something, that she's blowing out of proportion, or maybe she got like improper information through the mom grapevine. Or something like that. I'm not convinced that everyone has perfect information here.
I agree. And also low-key conspiracy theory, I think that the mom maybe wanted OP to marry one of those
girls.
It was like friend's kid.
Hey,
it was like, an arranged marriage.
We've known her. I'm friends with the mom. I want to keep this fun little thing going.
Group. Yep.
This is what I want. I'm the mom.
I can see that.
And now that he's getting married, it's like, oh, he's really not going to
I could for sure see that.
Ooh,
Let's see what actually happens.
And it's Florence Pugh. My bad.
That's the movie?
That's the actress in the movie.
That's the actress. There we go. We got the real data, ladies and gentlemen.
Can OP move out of the town?
Hopefully. I don't know if that's like a perfect option.
I don't know.
It sounds like the whole town would riot at that point.
Yeah, it's like, you must stay with us. Live with us forever.
Well, Let's find out. Update. Both parents are making the trip tonight to talk about this with us. Thank you all for your thoughts. I really appreciate them. Sorry if I haven't been able to get to everyone's questions. I will update again after I sort this out. We got some relevant comments.
Let's hit it.
And real quick, also from Bethany, there must be nothing going on in this town for something like OP having a spat of jealousy being the topic forever. That is absolutely true. And this feels like you're not good enough for my son vibes, and it's so weird. Bethany, spitting facts. On to these relevant comments here. Commenter number 1 says, if you speak with your parents, which I would personally cancel as it sends the message that they have a voice in your and your girlfriend's relationship, this isn't the message you want to send. You should not speak with your parents. First, you're an adult. You make your own decisions, including who you want to marry.
Agreed on that.
Agreed on that. Your father recognizes this. Your mom is just going to have to accept it. She gets on board or she'll be seeing less of you. FDW. Future dear wife and any future children you may have. They got to get used to it. Second, what occurs in your and your girlfriend's relationship stays between you and her. Third, you put your parents, especially your mother, on an information diet. They don't need to know everything about your finances, job, opportunities, looking for your first home, etc. You share the wonderful news after the fact. Lastly, when your mother's behavior towards your girlfriend is rude, disrespectful, or hateful, you step in and say, don't speak to my future wife like that. Girlfriend, it's time to go. Your mother needs to know that your girlfriend is your priority and you have her back. Your mother is holding a grudge against your girlfriend from 3 years ago for a situation that didn't even involve her. It's childish. If she brings it up again, tell her so. Just really quickly, I mean, I think OP should still sit down with them just to again, it's communication. Yes, they might be being childish, but I think
well,
OP
it's kind of like
to...
whenever you put a barrier up or you put an information diet up, I think having that line of communication to say, hey, this is the behavior that I want from this relationship. And they might totally just not change at all, but at least making known what you want could potentially make that relationship better, or at least give them the opportunity to change.
I think the communication can't hurt, especially at this point.
Yeah.
Especially. Comment number 2. Who cares what your mother says, especially if you don't have a very special, trusting relationship with her? Seriously, you're grown. You make the decision you think is right. Done. I cringed so hard about that adult soda pong table, though. Ooh, you effed up. But I guess it's proof that your girlfriend is normal and human, but is also reasonable and kind. Opie said, yeah, I effed up big time on that one. No doubt about it. A commenter number 3 says, yeah, your mom is jealous. And this is going to sound weird. Are you leading her on? You talked about wanting the close-knit family and wanting to spend time with your parents. Is it possible your mom has latched onto that and sees your girlfriend as competition for your time and attention? Something is amiss. Your mom is being a knucklehead to your girlfriend and isn't being honest with you or herself about why. You know how you handle this will set the time for your potential marriage. Good luck, OP. To which OP responds, I didn't really think I was leading her on at all. I do want those things, but the reality is if my school/life situation is just that I can't be around very often. Don't even make it back for good friends often unless there's a big event happening. She may very well see her as competition on some level.
I don't know if it's competition. I mean, yes, it's probably a little bit of competition, but I think it's more like you're choosing someone who I don't approve of. And there's these 2 girls that are within the family gossip circle that would have been better for you. That's what I'm feeling a little bit more.
Yeah, you're not doing what mom wants, what mom has ordained. And now she's not happy and gossiping. She's going to get the whole town with her pitchforks at your doorstep, my friend. But we have an update. Let's see if the mom shows up.
Let's hit it.
Since my first post gained some traction, I thought I'd give you all an update. So I did it. I told my mom I wanted to talk to her. She tried to avoid it and say that she wanted to talk in person. You know what? Whatever. Sure, that's fine. But it has to be one of 2 days this week. She says, okay, then later plans to come down the next day. So my mom comes into town and just so happened to be the same day that my girlfriend left for her month-long internship. Went out to see my girlfriend and ended up keeping mom waiting. Not really on purpose though. We talked later that evening and I told her in no uncertain terms that girlfriend is my #1 priority moving forward and that how she responds to that will determine how close we can be as a family.
All right.
Okay, yeah. That I couldn't accept any further rudeness. Basically, just put my foot down, as many of you lovely commenters suggested. Fast forward 1 month, girlfriend and I have been communicating, but it is strained. Things just aren't the same, and the distance in our schedules are not helping.
Well, yeah, I mean, not only are you guys going to be, you're doing a long distance relationship, that's hard enough, but having your families at each other's throats, or at least not your families, but your mom,
yeah,
that's going to put a lot of strain on already a strained situation. That's going to be hard.
It's not looking good right now. We have a lot more story left, but I'm a little worried.
I'm a little worried too. I'm a little worried.
Things just aren't the same, and the distance between our schedules aren't helping. I got off early today, and I was thinking I'd surprise her by calling her so she would have someone to talk to for a little bit on the long drive home. Things were very awkward, but we planned on getting together this week to celebrate my birthday. Then a few hours later, she calls and said now that she had really had time to think about it, she doesn't know if she could ever feel comfortable around my mother again and just felt betrayed. She felt disappointed in how I handled the situation by not putting my foot down earlier in the week when this all happened and let my mother dictate when we would talk about it. Still had some reservations about the other strains on our relationships from the past as well. And now it's all over.
What?
What?
No way.
5.5 years
No.
down the drain.
No.
And I've lost my very best friend.
Oh.
What?
Oh, that's tough.
Usually I'm
That's
excited
tough.
about having correct predictions. Today, not one of those days.
That one's rough.
Not one of those days. I'm completely devastated and I just blame myself. And sorry, I don't have happier ending for you all, which by the way, this is literally not even halfway done with this story. So
There's a chance.
there's a
There's
chance.
a chance to get back together. But also, you just the long distance situation is already hard. It's just like we said before, you're having multiple things sabotaging this relationship right now. Peyton's asking for a little TLDR right now.
Yeah, so basically, OP and what was his girlfriend had been dating for 5.5 years. Things seemed going good. He was going to get the ring. All of a sudden, mom is super rude and basically says, oh, this little thing that happened 3 years ago, I'm still mad about it. Really
and what
weird.
was that thing again?
Basically, two of his childhood friends made this big grand gift for his 21st. And the girlfriend was jealous. He told them the girlfriend was jealous. It was a spat. OP shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
But OP thought that was all behind him, but mom is like, no, this is
Well, the mom
bothering
took
me.
that as OP's girlfriend putting a wedge between OP and his friends. And I think
Yes.
the mom's probably thinking, at what point is she going to put a wedge between me and my son?
Yes, and maybe she wants him
Who's
to marry the
next?
childhood friends.
Who's next?
So many things. The whole town seems in on it. And basically, all of that pressure caused OP and the girlfriend to break up. And that's where we're at.
Okay.
And we have these relevant comments here. Commenter number 1 says, can I give you some tough love? Your mom didn't ruin your relationship. You did.
Ooh.
You had the chance to be the one that sets the guides on how you grow the relationship between your partner and your parents, including limiting or adding boundaries if they don't get along, but you chose not to do that. A little unfair, but we'll comment more in a sec. My mother-in-law sounds a lot like your mom, but my husband knows how to balance this extended family with our nuclear one. He cushions our relationship and is in charge of maintaining the connection we have with her as a grandmother, Skype calls, Mother's Day planning, etc. Granted, it wasn't easy to get this into place, but he and I have worked as a team to figure this out, and I feel like I have a decent relationship with her as a result. I would advise you to consider this a chance to really figure out what you want from a wife and partner. It's totally fine to want someone who gets along with your mom and perhaps is even someone local so you don't feel so stretched out between family and friends, but I think you will miss the opportunity to find a partner for yourself if you don't take this opportunity to reflect on how your choices got you here. You deserve to have that love in your life. Take a breath, cry a little, regroup, and find your path. Really quick before OP responds, I think that's a little unfair just because OP did eventually, and not that long after, sat the mom down, put his foot down, set the boundaries, but I guess to the girlfriend, she just felt it was a little too late, and she felt that dynamic was forever changed, which, in fairness, if that's how she feels,
Yeah,
what can you do?
I think she probably feels it's a little bit, a little too late, and almost like you did this with my prompting instead of doing it just by yourself.
And perhaps even to OP, this was more of a surprise. Perhaps to girlfriend, it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Could have been. So OP says, responding to that, the reality of my situation is that I'll likely be away from my hometown for the next 7 to 10 years due to my future career. I'm in medical school. I know that I could have handled this much better, and this is a singular event, didn't cause it. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Shout out to me saying that 2 seconds ago. I accept the ultimate responsibility for this folly, which just makes it that much worse. Commenter number 2 says, wait, I feel like I'm missing something. I looked at the prior story here. Your mother was rude for one night. You immediately confronted her and she revealed she had a grudge against her girlfriend. How is this your fault and your girlfriend blames you? Dude, I hate to put it this way, but I think this wouldn't have worked anyways. Your mom was a butt, but pretty minor rudeness isn't really we need to break up material after 5 years together. The truth is probably that your girlfriend couldn't handle the physical distance.
Yeah.
And this is just the excuse that she is going with.
I mean, that's true too. I mean, having a long distance girlfriend, that is tough.
Yeah, at that age.
That age.
It's a good call out. And it seems like the whole town is against you.
Yeah.
kind of a lot.
Dude, you never had a chance.
Oh, man. Riley, I feel like this is what might happen if you had stayed in your hometown.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, absolutely, dude.
Now, you should go on a long walk with your mom, though. She needs to see you as a separate person and be able to understand that in the future, your significant other will be your priority. Drop some clear boundaries for her so she knows what you consider to be the boundary line. If she has considerations, listen and decide if they're reasonable. For example, my mother-in-law turned out to have a fear that I would bar my significant other from visiting. Once that fear was addressed, it made her much less hostile overall. Aggression that had nothing to do with visiting ceased, and I would have never thought that it was connected. Anyways, good luck with all of this. OP response. To be fair, I didn't completely put my foot down from the get-go and let my mom dictate the terms of the boundary setting conversation that we had. I thought I made a point when I blew off my mom on her time to spend it with my girlfriend before I left, but it was too little too late. It isn't like we've had a perfect relationship up until now, but it's always something that we could work through. This, however, was just the final straw. We are about to get into update 2. We are just about halfway through the story. Do we think at this point there's any hope of reconnecting and getting back together? Any hope?
Oh yeah, a grand gesture of romance would definitely make this come back together. Come on,
I don't
5.5
think so.
years?
I don't think so, dude.
You don't think so?
You know what I think this development's going to be? I think she was
What?
cheating. That's what I think the development's going to be. Or
Okay.
she already has another man's.
She monkey branched.
Dude, she monkey brain. I think he tries to do a grand gesture and then it's like outside her medical school dorm or where is she? She's not in medical school. Where is she? What's she doing? Outside of
She
whatever.
said some internship. I think probably
Yeah,
medical
outside of her internship with flowers, and she walks out smooching a new guy at her internship.
related.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Let's put up a poll as a tiebreaker. Get back together or nah?
Nah.
I'm very curious. Riley thinks it's a chance. I'm curious.
It's a chance.
I'm
Remember
curious to
your
see what
friend? Well, I guess this is a horrible example, but remember your friend that went to New York to, make something happen? Remember the guy that died in a helicopter? That basketball player?
Yes.
The one that has the same name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I mean, let's just say it worked out, though. I would use that example, but I can't. That's
yeah, it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
I know.
Guys, give Riley points for trying, y'all.
Dang it.
Last step of the day.
What was the poll? Get back together or?
Back together or nah? Whichever's better. You got
John,
it.
we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man now.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story. Update number 2. So, me again, folks. Apologies. Some of you may think that I'm just a karma witch at this point. So I fought as hard as I know how. And I asked her if it was okay if I stopped by this evening after getting off work. And she said yes.
Grand gesture alert.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Went to a florist, grabbed the largest bunch of her favorite flowers.
Bruh, did I not call it?
Well, also, you said they're not getting back together.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I said he would come and get with it like a bunch of flowers and she would already be seeing someone.
He would still, oh.
That's what I said.
You did say that.
Let the record show.
That is true. We have the tape. I drove 2 hours ready to pour my heart and soul out.
Oh, dude, he's
I
going to
can't.
get absolutely smacked down.
I get there and I tell her about how she means everything to me and that I want to put the work in and do whatever it takes for us to move forward together.
You're screwed. You're done.
Kimberly Fine says, did he bring luggage?
Oh, did he? Oh, wow. That's a callback.
That's a great callback, Kimberly
Wow.
Fine.
Did he bring
Hashtag team
luggage?
no bags. We're bringing it back.
He is, dude, so rough.
No bags. But bro brought bags, though. Bro brought bags. That I'm so incredibly sorry that I let her down, but I'm committed to be better and that I choose her over anyone else and that she is my very best friend.
Oh, dude, I'm ready for the clap back. Come on.
And it didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, OP. I'm sorry. That really sucks, but I was right though. Let's go.
Dang it.
I was right though.
When you're so right, but it's so wrong. But it's so great. She reiterated that she can't be a reason to split up my family and that even if it wasn't her fault, she would always feel guilty. That there's been other times where I haven't fought hard enough for her over our relationship and that she shouldn't have to tell me what to do to make me care even more. Shout out to what Sam said earlier. That I led her along thinking everything was great and that I was proposing to her in the near future. And I was, but she feels like I was too easily dissuaded. And most importantly, that she doesn't have the emotional energy anymore to fight. And that she feels like up until now, she's always done all of the fighting. I tried to show her how I've changed, that I put my foot down on my mother, and that I was here now actively fighting for our relationship, that going forward, I would continue to do so. But for the first time in forever, she was decisive and nothing I could do would budge her.
Called it. I'm still waiting for the boy toy that she's been hiding. I think there's something.
Well, 70%.
Something scurrying around the corner.
73% of you guys
said no.
73% said no.
I mean, listen, you guys are looking right.
You know what's up.
Sam is like 4 for 4 right now, guys. If you're keeping track, editor, give him a scoreboard. It hurts so much more because there's still so much love here. I was so ready to continue to improve myself as a partner in light of all of this, but now that I have, she just feels like she can't anymore. Too little, too late.
Sounds like someone really smart earlier. Sounds like someone really smart earlier said that.
Called it and was maybe very enthusiastic about the
big brain, Stephen Hawking size brain.
Predicted the very tragic downfall of your relationship. May or may not have celebrated.
Always right.
Yes. I've already signed up for therapy. I will still continue to hold my mother to the same expectations going forward. Maybe time will change something in my now ex, but I know that it likely won't. In the meantime, I'll just try to grow as a person. Not really looking for advice, just giving you all some finality to the story.
It's not over, right?
No, it's not.
There's a chunk, dude.
There's a chunk.
Just you wait.
There's a chunk.
Just you wait. There's something coming.
Ooh. Quick edit. Now, her mom just texted me saying that she didn't want to meddle, but she knows her daughter still loves me and needs time to heal. Whoa! Future mommy-in-law stepping in. Dang it, you guys, as if this wasn't hard enough. More willing to take advice now. Quick edit number 2, copied a comment of mine. So there is a fundamental flaw with a lot of the comments here. So many people are jumping on the whole, your mother has been sneaking around and being mean to your ex-girlfriend, and you only have now noticed it. I just want to clear the air and say that this is absolutely not true. She really loved my mom and felt the love in return. This came out of left field for both of us. Now, this is not me saying that I'm not at fault here. I should have made more of an effort during hard times. Even before this whole debacle occurred, I shouldn't have let my mother dictate any terms out of the conversation where I put my foot down. I accept total responsibility for all of those things. I'm hurt because before she left, we decided that we would work through this together with the expectation that I would continue to make good on setting boundaries for my mother, and that under no uncertain terms that I would now have my exes back in the future.
But then she met Chad and Brad at the internship.
Not two. But when she came back, she had obviously had time to think and changed her mind while I had been following through on everything that we had already agreed upon. I understand why she's made this choice. I really do. I didn't live up to her expectations repeatedly, and she hit a breaking point. I'm just so disappointed in myself that I couldn't be the man she hoped I could be when she needed me to be it.
Dang.
Dude, OP's putting too much of this burden on him. I think she simply didn't want to do the distance, and Chad and Brad are chatting her up.
Yeah, it's like just one of those situations where, yes, OP is just absolutely trying his best and putting his best foot forward, but she just doesn't align with wanting to stay in the relationship. It's just not necessarily just because of him. I think it's all of the factors all combined. She's like she said,
and
I don't have the energy
all
anymore.
The blame on him.
Like
he's like, come on, like lift some of that off your shoulders.
Yeah. Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself.
And I truly don't think he did that bad of a job.
Wrong.
He did. Yeah. He grew.
He grew.
Which
is all we ever ask.
Which
of
is all
anyone in these stories, just to grow.
And quite honestly, more than we see a lot of.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying.
He grows and he shows.
Oh God, that spine is strong. Now onto some comments. Commenter number 1 says, I honestly don't think this has to do with your mother anymore. It sounds like you had a pattern of disrespecting your ex, and she checked out a while ago. It's strange to me that your mother knows about all the details of your relationship and is using them against your ex. The whole relationship with your 2 girlfriends feels like there is information missing. Maybe I'm just jealous too, but if the 2 girls gave my boyfriend a very personal and probably expensive gift, I would raise an eyebrow. I know my boyfriend would be weirded out if 2 guys gave me a gift like that as well. Is it possible that those girls also had a pattern of disrespecting your girlfriend and or you in your relationship? Maybe. How many people do you allow to disrespect your relationship? Continuing to pile on OP. OP says, not really. She had a very legitimate reason to be jealous. They had a history of treating me like a brother, complete with baby talk and other nonsense that was just not acceptable. I hated it, but we tried to tolerate it for old time's sakes. Quickly got fed up after I started dating my now ex. Didn't ask for or want the table. Understood when the ex got mad. Completely betrayed her trust that night by telling them how she felt. And after the incident, though, things calmed down quite a bit and there wasn't much interaction or tension there. From what girlfriend told me when we broke up, they're a non-factor in this whole thing. They've only been mentioned because my mom brought them up. My mother most likely knows from these girls telling their mothers back when it happened, who is on and off again friends with my mother. However, since this incident happened 4 years ago today, my birthday, oh God, it is Opie's birthday today. This is...
It just keeps getting worse.
Wow.
Oh, buddy.
I'm sorry, dude.
Buddy boo.
For your birthday, you get a broken heart.
Woo.
It's obvious that my mother has been harboring a grudge for years while putting on a facade the whole time, which obviously led to distrust and a feeling of betrayal that ex-girlfriend understandably doesn't want to tolerate moving forward. Mother decided to go fishing and came up with any reason at all to dislike her, when in reality, she was nothing but supportive until I started talking about the engagement. No one else had ever gotten close to getting between the two of us. The main reason, other than my mother, that she cited to me for the breakup are that 1, I mentioned that I wanted to get engaged soon and then didn't do it. My stance is that I pushed back because I had to push my boards back a month to prepare and wanted to get the ball rolling after I was done with my test. Again, OP's in medical school, still going through a lot of exams and stuff. Then my mom did what she did and my girlfriend went away, which further delayed my plans. 2, in previous times of hardship in our relationship, I would freeze up and not know how to proceed. These instances do not involve my mother. For example, she felt like she would have to tell me how I should feel or what I should do in order to fix things, which made her feel like I didn't care enough. And she's absolutely right. I shut down during those times and just kind of accepted my fate. And like if she wanted to leave me, I was going to be incredibly upset, but I had no idea how to fight or what to say in order to keep that from happening on my own. And who the heck wants that? It's no wonder why she got fed up. A major area that I can work on is self-expression.
I do feel like OP is, yes, he was blind, but I do feel like he's
being too hard on
he's
himself,
doing yeah, but I do think he's like, at least he's owning up to a little bit of it.
Yeah, man. I think he's like...
But everyone's saying OP is so blind, OP is an unreliable narrator, OP is painfully unaware. Chat's against OP. Dutch Katana says, someone give me the girlfriend's POV.
I mean, hey, the other POV is always helpful, but I do feel he's on the path.
That's what I feel too.
Feel he's on the path.
Come on, chat.
Write your paragraphs in the comments. Please let me know, but that's what I'm feeling. We'll keep going. So I'm in therapy now, recently diagnosed with either cyclothymia or dysthymia. Riley, if you could help me out there, what that is. And I'm working on getting better. Luckily, the main treatment is plenty of cardiovascular exercises, and it gives me an excuse to get my lethargic, apathetic, frankly lazy butt back in the gym.
They're both mood disorders. Cyclothymia is a mild case of bipolar disorder, and dysthymia is a mild and chronic form of depression. So it's like depression and
like mild bipolar.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. I've gained 30 to 40 pounds during the relationship. Currently,
that was me, bro. I feel you, man.
Yikes.
Currently no contact with mom for some time, who ironically posted a baby picture of me for my birthday on social media. She's fronting, just the virtue signaling going crazy. Further confirming she doesn't think of me as an adult. And also temporarily no contact with her with X per therapist's recommendations. We'll see what happens. Just trying to stay busy, stay consistent, and focus on me right now. Edit. I'm sorry I've edited this like 5 times. Try not to leave anything out, which I did in my post by accident, but now it's too late to change because it'll be buried. And we have another update. 3. We have another one.
Sassy Sin says he's on the path, but too late to say the relationship. I agree with that, but I do think he's on the path. Like, to say that he's just like terrible and blind, like, yes, maybe he was, but I do think he's growing, which is good.
I think we're like bringing down the hammer on him too hard, not recognizing he's getting there.
How old is he?
24.
Yeah, dude, come on. Who wasn't a dumb butt at 24?
I was.
Hello.
Yeah, I do.
Hands raised.
I was like, I feel like an idiot right now.
I'm done freaking eating.
Well, we've got update number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Is it the last? We shall see. Jesus, where to begin? A number of you have probably seen my previous post. Does the bot automatically link everything, or is that only for particular flares? But anyways, this saga continues. Things are going pretty well. Still been working on some self-improvement. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to attend regular therapy. My therapist has been required to take medical leave of absence, and there isn't anyone else I can see for free that works with my rigorous school schedule. The school is actively searching for a temporary replacement. I've still been following through with his advice of frequent cardiovascular exercise for my mood disorder and went no contact with my mother and ex for a couple of weeks. I also love the exercise as like therapy. It's great.
Hey, you know what? It's the iron church. You gotta pump those weights to get the sadness out.
Yeah, I know Riley knows about that.
That's right.
Talk about it, brother.
Let's go up and pick up those chairs. Let's get our reps in the choir and Get on our knees and start praying.
That's the Riley
That's the
antidepressant
Riley
right there.
regimen.
Yes, sir. I went back to my hometown where my ex was staying for another month-long internship, dropped off a few of her things with a note saying why it didn't feel right to hold on to them and that I missed her. Afterwards, I had a great weekend staying with my incredibly supportive friends and avoided my mother until I picked up my dog that Sunday. Before I left that day, my mother tried to talk to me and I told her in no uncertain terms that I was unwilling to talk to her unless she was ready to accept some responsibility and take some actions to right her wrongs. She said she was, and we spoke about what happened between me and my ex and how she doesn't see how there could be a future with me if my mother continued to feel that way about her, that she had no right interfering with my relationship, etc., etc. I got an apology, but wasn't really buying it. She said she had always hoped that the woman I wanted to marry would be super close to her, since it's always just been me and my father in our family, and she's always wanted to have a girlfriend in the family. Sounds like you're just saying you wanted it to be your pick. That's what I'm reading this as.
What do you mean by that?
Because basically she's like, oh, it's such a small family. I wanted to bring one of the girlfriends into the family. I think like as in one of the friends that the family friends, and I think the mom is basically saying like, oh, I didn't pick her. So I don't like, basically the mom is not viewing her as like part of this like dream vision family unit that mom had in her mind.
The mom had it all planned out from like birth.
Yes. Total BS, Opie says, because it's me who wants to marry this woman, not my mother. And what she wants doesn't really matter. Not to mention she's rarely, if ever, reached out to spend one-on-one time with my ex. Yeah, you could have had that with her. She is a nice woman.
Yeah.
It seems.
With a family.
I told her if she's really sorry, then she could write an apology to my ex, to which she agreed.
Okay. But again, I don't know if that looks good.
I don't even know.
I don't know if that's a move.
I like that. I guess she's doing something, but like, I don't like that it's this.
Yeah, no, I think this is like asking mommy to fix your problems.
And also, I feel like she's going to be like, I'm trying to move on.
Yeah.
Like this is.
Let me be with Brad and Chad.
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyways, the note I left at my ex's parents' house with her things rekindled some conversation and started making her rethink some things.
No way.
I told her that I was going to be in town again that next weekend, and, if she wanted to, we could meet up for some coffee.
No way.
She agreed.
No way we're getting a happy ending.
And
I don't believe it.
And since, Riley, you might have your comeuppance, my friend.
No freaking way.
And since she was coming off a call shift, we just went ahead and got breakfast/brunch. We talked for a long time. She feels confused, still loves and misses me.
Get out of here.
And she wants us to work, but is having a hard time seeing a way forward with everything that happened with my mother. Yes!
No. Get away,
Easy
girl.
Solution. Break up with mother. Go to wherever she is and do medical school there.
I'm dumping you, mommy, and getting a new mommy.
That's right.
Bubbles Marie, I don't want your gosh dang happy ending.
Come on, Bubbles Marie. Come on.
Bethany says, no, girlfriend. He needs to grow first. Yeah, give him a couple of years.
He is growing.
He's not growing enough yet.
Yes, he is. He's owning
He
up.
needs time. He needs time.
He's grown up, and he can, figure this out with her.
Are you ready? Are you ready? He kept putting in the work when he kind of accepted and knew that work would get her back. He wasn't doing just to show her, he's like, he accepted, I need to work on me.
I don't like it.
So he's doing it for her, but not for himself. I don't like it.
So, and that when she broke up with me, she meant it. I told her I've been making some changes and really fighting for us in the meantime, and that I want us to work too. That if it came to it again, I've already chosen her over my mother. It ended in an agreement to keep in touch and see if she can come back to the level I'm at right now with some time and space to sort out her thoughts. She's left town again for her last internship, so that's about the best we can do for now anyways. My mom tried to reach out for a normal conversation, but I stopped her short and asked her how that apology note was coming, to which she responded, still working on it, which of course means that she's either been avoiding it or had no intention of following through. I ended the conversation immediately. A couple of days later, my dad called and said that she had came crying to him, saying that no matter what she does, it won't be enough. He responded with, well, have you tried doing, I don't know, anything at all?
Savage.
Have you tried that?
Savage.
Dude, daddy is letting his cojones hang. Yes, he's seriously been awesome through this whole thing. The next day, my mother says she sent the apology over. Fast forward to when my ex receives the letter and tells me and asks if I can see it. It reads the following, with names redacted, of course. Dear ex, it seems you're upset with my response and reactions to you and your relationship with my son.
Rewrite it. Try again.
Try again.
I apologize if you feel I have offended you in any way with my actions or words. We have always encouraged and valued honest and open communication with son. I have hoped hoped for a warm and friendly relationship with you as well. I am hopeful that all issues will be resolved in a positive way.
This is terrible.
Best mother. Not an apology.
0.
Sorry if you got hurt. I didn't do anything. I'm sorry that you took it the wrong way.
Hey, I'm sorry when I freaking
hate this.
smacked you in the face that it like hurt.
Yeah.
That you felt like you hurt. I'm sorry you felt that way.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
My God, I wanted to throttle her. The most insincere, at least, I don't know any other way to say it that wouldn't get flagged. The most insincere, least insightful way she could have apologized, quote unquote, with minimal effort. Clearly, she still doesn't accept any responsibility or realize that opinions don't matter and that she was wrong to act and feel the way she does. By the way, you are wrong if you think, act, and feel a way about not listening to full episodes of the show, because they're there.
They're there.
Full episodes with stories like
Right
this.
in front of your face.
Spotify, Apple, anywhere you listen to pods, search OK Storytime and get a treasure trove of 2,000 plus episodes. But, Sam and Riley.
Put them in your ear holes.
Put them in your ear holes.
Right in. Gobble them up.
We are nearing the end of our journey.
Okay.
Do we think they're going to make it? We still have a little bit left.
Nah, dude. I don't believe it.
Riley?
Dude, yes. I'm all in.
We're still there.
I'm
We're
all
still
in.
there.
I'm going to check for an update. Might not happen now. I'm hopeful.
We'll see. This is like, it's the end of the fourth quarter. We're like 20 yards from the end zone. Yeah, I know football.
All right,
kind
let's
of.
see it.
And let's see. Okay, so at this point, I've called her out on it 3 times and had some serious sit downs, but I'm clearly not getting through to her. My dad has also tried to talk to her about these things, and she tells him that this is all between me and my ex and has nothing to do with her. I'm at my wit's end, folks. My dad and I are tighter than ever. My mother is full on no contact, essentially has been since the whole thing started, barring these sit downs that we've had. And my ex and I are talking again. Only time will tell, I suppose. And we have some relevant comments. Comment number 1 says, would you be okay with your ex being full no contact with your mom if you guys got back together, if that's what she wanted? Would you be okay with remaining no contact / low contact with your mother for an indeterminate period of time under those circumstances? And having a unstoppable boundary that, should you choose to speak with your mother at all, the instant she brings up your ex, you have to tell her that the conversation is over, hang up, and or leave her presence. I'm just thinking about what might make your ex have some confidence that your mother won't be able to insinuate herself back into your life and relationship should it resume, because it sounds like that is her hill to pass away on, which is unreasonable. But that means you need to find a way to reassure her that the condition will be met going forward with you, and that I think X is a much better person to have in your life than your mom, unless your mom suddenly gets her act together. Just saying. To which Opie responds, you're 100% right. I've said as much.
Opie's taking this really well.
Again,
He's growing.
He's
on
growing.
the train. It's clear that mother has put what she wants over my own happiness, so it's up to her to make an effort to repair our relationship, not me. I'm just so over it. X is a genuinely good person and feels guilty about being the point of contention for my now strained relationship with my mother. Says that I should be able to have a relationship with my partner and my mother, and I agree, but it's my mother who's forcing me to make a choice, not X, and that I've already chosen who I'd rather have my life.
And that is where that story ends.
We leave on a cliffhanger. Did they get together? No. But is it seeming like
is there potential?
They're getting there? Absolutely.
Potentially.
Yes.
Potentially.
Absolutely yes for potential. Bethany says, yeah, even if it's too late for this relationship, it could be good for the next, that he is still learning and growing, which is what I was saying, in that it does seem he's taking responsibility. I think for me, the big thing is he was trying to grow and improve on himself, even when he knew and accepted that wouldn't be getting the girlfriend back. He knew, like, hey, I have to, just as a person, just to grow, I need to accept responsibility for this. And I know it might not, I might not be able to leverage it to just get what I want, but I should still do it anyways. That is maturity. That to me is something. And you're freaking welcome, Kelsey Hoff, because you rock. Shout out to you. Shout out to Peyton and our whole wonderful community. Can you just give a round of applause for yourself in the chat and in the comments? Could we just clap it up for you guys being the greatest people on planet Earth? Because you are. Congratulations. You are. That's right.
Yeah, he posted a different one asking, is there anything he could do to make it work? And it just seems like they're done. And then he asked questions like, Tinder, how do I swipe? Appearing as a top pick after already being swiped. And what are some fun getting to know you dates? He's met a new woman. So
Okay.
I think the girlfriend asked, are there any new updates about the mom? And he was like, no. So that's it.
So it seems like it.
So it
at
seems
least
like it's
as
over.
of right now.
It's over.
He's on Tinder. Yeah, dude. Sorry, dude. I was
We were rooting rooting for you. Okay, well, we did kind of have an update. Man's on Tinder. He's trying to find love again, and maybe
That's
he's
true.
still growing.
Maybe he comes back with an update of like, hey, I grew as a person, and here's what happened there.
Yeah.
And that's someone new.
All right.
That was 5 years ago.
Am I the a-hole for not allowing my daughter to significantly alter my wedding dress? What do you think, Riley?
What are we making? What are we adding to it?
Yeah, like what's the vision?
What's the
Is
vision?
it good?
Is the vision good? Then
Yeah.
don't be mad if it's bad.
Yeah,
You have rights.
you have a right to be mad. So, Comfortable Love 8350 says, my 44 female daughter, 25 female, is getting married later this year to her girlfriend, 27 female. Oh, before we even go, I understand now. She's saying that the daughter is probably using this dress and wants to alter it.
That's what the title said.
I know, but I thought like the daughter was like for the mom's wedding. Yeah, I don't know why that was my understanding.
Oh, she's like,
yeah.
Mom, this would look really
Yeah,
great.
she was like,
if
let
you
me
added
touch it up. Yeah, this makes more sense.
Okay.
I have always dreamed of walking her down the aisle. My husband passed when she was a child, and she enjoyed talking about a future wedding and playing bride when she was a child, picking flowers and colors and venues. She loved watching the videos of my wedding and seeing me and her father get married, and it was important in our bonding. When she was 13, I promised her my wedding dress. However, her clothing style is more manly. She began refusing to wear dresses or skirts when she was in her late teens, even trying to demand her school allow her to wear trousers. As she should. Why is the school not allowing her to wear pants? It was difficult convincing her to wear dresses to formal events. She has gone through phases of wanting short hair, wanting to be a boy, and getting tattoos. I have always been very supportive of all this, even when she met her girlfriend and proposed to her. I have encouraged her as much as I can, and I'm contributing significantly to the wedding. I recently called and asked her when she wanted me to bring over the dress, as it would likely need slight alterations, and she dropped the bombshell on me that she wanted to wear a suit and have my wedding dress altered to remove the skirt portion so that the bodice can be worn with trousers. At first I agreed, but dragged my feet bringing the dress over. After a few weeks, I changed my mind and told her that the dress was important to me and I didn't want her to ruin it. When I promised her the dress, it was because I thought she would wear it as a dress, and she would only get to wear it as a dress. I offered that her girlfriend could wear it as a dress instead, but my daughter said that she would still be ruining it. Her girlfriend is a much larger woman than me, so it would need more altering, and has since not been answering my messages except with saying that the dress would be a connection to her dad, so she's disappointed not to have it. I offered to go to dress shopping with her for a replacement, but apparently some of her family think I'm stopping her from having the dress because I disagree with her being masculine. So am I the a-hole for telling her that she can have it as a dress or not have it at all? I may be the a-hole because I promised it to her, but that was when she was very young and before I knew she wanted to change it. And there are some relevant comments, but
Whoa.
I think not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole?
I don't think it's fair for OP's daughter to expect that she gets to like significantly alter a like dress that has a lot of significance, especially because OP lost her husband.
Yeah.
And I understand like the daughter wanting to have a connection with her dad, but like at the end of the day, this is OP's dress.
Yeah. Yeah. It is OP's dress. I think it'd be interesting if she could wear something of her dad's on that day, like a
that's
tie or a suit.
That's such a great idea.
That would be cool. I think a tie
Yeah.
would be super cool.
Honestly, I think that it's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because she wants to wear like this, the daughter wants to wear something more masculine. And so I think it makes more sense to like,
Like on the
Yeah.
father's side.
especially if she wants to have the connection with her dad.
Yeah.
No, because I don't think it's totally fair to ask your mom to like completely change the dress that she, you know?
Yeah. That's
I
a
think
huge ask.
Yeah. I think if the mom was like, no, why are you wearing masculine clothes, blah, 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 that would be a-hole-ish. But that's not what she's doing. She's just
Yeah.
saying like, hey, I don't feel comfortable giving this dress knowing that it will be so significantly changed and altered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
think not the a-hole.
And she's been supportive, but
Yeah.
this is a huge
That's a huge ask.
ask.
But there are some relevant comments. Commenter says, what happens to the dress if she doesn't wear it? Is it just going to sit in storage, or do you still look at it fairly regularly? In other words, what will you lose if she alters it? Opie says, it lives in my closet. I don't seek it out, but I see it. If the dress could be returned to its original state, or is there something from OP's late husband that the daughter could wear, as you said. Thank you. I will be talking to a professional about it if possible to recover the dress after splitting it. I only have my husband's cufflinks from his wedding suit as he was buried in it. And I will offer her those. You obviously just aren't happy with her not wanting to wear a dress. You would have been fine with significantly altering it for your daughter's fiance, but now you're not. You are homophobic. And you said in the past, it was difficult to convince your daughter to wear dresses to formal events. You have a history of trying to get your daughter to wear dresses instead of respecting your choices. Why did you make her wear them? I think in the past, I guess that's a good point. I forgot that she was asking her daughter to wear dresses and stuff. However, I think in those instances, not great. You know, she should have let her daughter wear what she wants to wear. But I think in this instance, it does seem like it's more from a place of this is a meaningful dress.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it sounded homophobic earlier because she probably didn't maybe, I don't know.
OP says, I was trying to prevent her from being judged by people more traditional. That I don't like. I think the past instances were not great, but it seems like she might have grown and stuff and taken it in. So I'm not holding that too much against her because she was supportive in the face of the wedding. But then another commenter says, y'all, she doesn't want suggestions. She wants to be vindicated in her homophobia. I don't know if I would go that far. I feel like it's fair to not want to drastically change a dress that had a really meaningful part to play in your life.
And how can she be homophobic if she has a gay daughter? Come on. Well, she's not homophobic.
Well, she don't think that's exactly how it works, but thank you for your.
She's not.
She's good, guys.
She's good.
I swear.
Yeah, I'm not homophobic. I have a gay friend.
So the commenter also said you would have been fine with significantly altering it for your daughter's fiance, but she wasn't fine with that. She brought up the idea, and then after realizing that how much it would have to be changed, she was like, actually, I'm not okay with that either. So I feel like that's not really a point. I don't know. I don't think in this instance, not wanting to wanting to keep the dress the same is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's homophobic.
I wouldn't consider it homophobic. No.
OP says, I'm not homophobic. I support my daughter. I've just been surprised and I'm struggling. I've gotten direct messages telling me that I'm right not to give my daughter the dress because they are homophobic and think she should not be getting married. If I didn't feel so strongly about the dress, I would give it to her simply to spite them. Oh, yeah. So she's getting all the homophobes being like, hell yeah, don't give her the dress. They're missing the point. This is so, wow. Yikes. No, I think I feel like we're getting two extremes on the side. And she's just like, I wanted to see if there's a way where I could keep my dress intact.
Just looking for some suggestions.
It's I should go on r/sewing.
That's where you should have went.
Yeah. She even asked, she already brought up the fact that she went to a tailor. She's going to a tailor to see if she can get it fixed after it's altered. So obviously she's open to the suggestions. Commenter, you're the a-hole, read other comments regarding microaggressions, transphobia, homophobia. I want to wear a suit to my wedding too. It's not wrong. If you're unwilling to give your child a family heirloom because you want it to remain untouched, don't offer it to them. OP says, I truly do not want to be microaggressive to my daughter. I offered it to her long before any thought that she would want it to be changed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change my mom offered me her wedding dress. And if I decided I wanted a completely different dress, I wouldn't wear that one. I would just buy a new one. And OP's not even saying, I am you know what? I feel I'm kind of shocked by the amount of people who are you're the a-holing her.
Yeah.
Because
too.
I just super disagree. Usually I'm on the side of the Redditors, but in this case I disagree.
Yeah, it looks like there's a split. She's voted not the a-hole, but there are plenty of
plenty of other ones. I don't think we have enough information for people to be so at our throat.
In
the past, the only things that I've kind of stuck out to me were her being well, I didn't want people to get on her because, or more traditional people to attack her because obviously that's just kind of not important. And then the other part where she was oh, she wanted to be a boy, she wanted to dress like a boy. Obviously that's more traditional mindset. But I think she's probably just like an older lady, and she's,
How
trying.
can I save my dress?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, I really don't think she's being an a-hole. I think she's just like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
There is an update. So OP is voted not the a-hole, though there are plenty of people who voted both. Update 3 days later.
Ooh.
I posted recently about my daughter surprising me by wanting to turn my wedding dress into a suit, which I refused despite having promised her because the reality hurt me. I was upset, and it made me feel better to see people agree with me. But the comments that made me upset made me think the most about the future and helped me empathize with my daughter. My daughter came over tonight and apologized for ignoring me and explained that she had always thought she had been promised she could have the dress to own rather than borrow, so she was sad to have lost that dream. I apologized for if I have ever come off as not supportive of her, as many comments said I sounded homophobic, and I want to be clear that I'm not. I respect and love my daughter. We talked about many things, especially about my husband, how his presence could still be felt on the day, how my daughter felt jealous that her fiance would get to share the day with both of her parents while she had only a memory. We watched the wedding video again, it's been a few years, and cried a bit. Aww. We also had some wine, so I apologize if this is not completely clear. I told her that I hadn't realized how much giving up the dress would hurt, and that I didn't think I could completely sacrifice it, and that I would talk to a tailor about if the dress could be separated and be put back together and returned to me. But if not, then I would help her find a suit as an alternative and give her some of the dress's lining to use. I also surprised her with her father's wedding cufflinks to wear, and as suggested by many commenters, and my veil in case her fiance wanted to wear it. And she was extremely happy with this as a compromise. Oh, that's really sweet. She asked if she could try the dress on just to see what it would be like. I will admit I was hoping she would change her mind when she had it on. She let me do her hair and makeup however I felt like. She was laughing so hard because it reminded her of when I did her braids for school. She picked out things for me to wear too in her style just to see how I would look. And we took pictures together and danced. Oh, choking. That's so sweet. She looked beautiful in the dress. It was like I had always dreamed when she was my little girl, but she didn't look herself.
Oh.
Suddenly, I knew a lot of you had been right. I hugged her and apologized and told her to take it and do whatever she wants. Wow. She has gone home now, and some parts of me regret giving it to her. I've been teary putting away the photos, but more than that, I'm thankful that I got to see what I thought would happen and realize it wasn't right, and that I can say goodbye to the expectations I had for so long. My daughter is happy as herself, and it is an honor that she wants to share that with me. I'm glad that she realized that she could give that dress up. I don't think she had to. I think that she wouldn't have been homophobic if she decided she couldn't give it up. But I'm glad that she realized that she was able to give that to her daughter and make that sacrifice.
Very sweet moment.
Yeah. In response to a deleted comment, it's hard letting go of something I wanted, yes, but I realized that I had been motivated more by the fact that I wanted her to look feminine, and getting to see that in practice made me realize that wanting my daughter to wear the dress as a dress was based on outdated expectations, and it just wasn't her. I'm happy with my decision. You're going to regret it because you were caught up in the moment, says someone else. I don't regret it. Sometimes it takes a strong moment to overcome emotional inertia. And then another commenter says, this whole scene is so touching to me as a queer person because it's a battle I've experienced internally as well. There are times I still fall back on old expectations that I should be pretty and feminine, but every time I give in and try dressing up, it's exactly like this. It's not that I don't look good in a dress and makeup, but I can't look or feel like myself, and that's more important. It's really moving to me that you were able to let go of your expectations and embrace your daughter as herself. It sounds like the wedding will be beautiful and full of meaning. OP says, I know I've gone too far at times in expecting her to be feminine while thinking I was being supportive or protective. There was always a small anxiety there that she should fit in more to be accepted, even if I didn't think there was anything wrong with her. That is gone now. And that is it. That's the whole story.
That's that story. Wow.
I love it. It was so sweet.
It was a huge switch up right there at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy that they talked it out. I was like, yeah, they figured it out. And then she fully switched up and was like, you know what? Actually, I think it was in part because I wanted her to wear a dress, and she can have it and change it up.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. That is very sweet.
No, I'm glad this is all worked out.
I'm glad they.
It's really cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what else is really cute?
What's that?
Maybe this next story.
Oh.
My child is getting bullied, and my wife is letting it happen.
Mama! Why are you doing that, Mama?
I apologize for any odd formatting. I'm simply a lurker and made an account to vent and seek advice on this issue. I, 41 male, and my wife, 38 female, have a daughter, 10 female, who I will call Enos for the sake of this post. Enos has a friend, also 10 female, who I will call Sarah, who she has grown quite close to. Unfortunately, I had just now found out this girl had been bullying our daughter, and my wife has been allowing it to happen. I would like to preface that my child is autistic. I do not believe her friend is neurodivergent. However, she was put in special ed for an unknown reason last school year in January. By the way, this comes from user Mountain Action 1999 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Enos and Sarah talked on the phone a lot, as Sarah's mother only allows phone calls between the two outside of school. No text or emails, not even through parents' phone. I wasn't bothered by this, as it is understandable for a parent to not want their child on the internet. However, they will talk for hours until it's Sarah's family's dinner time around 6 to 7 p.m., which she has to hang up the phone for the night. As soon as Enos is off the school bus, Sarah is calling to talk. Enos sometimes does not want to talk on the phone, but Sarah's constant voicemails and calls, alongside my wife telling her that she's being rude by not answering, has made Enos feel pressured to talk to her.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can get it. I can get the mom's perspective at this point of maybe just being like, you're a friend. She's got a friend.
Yeah.
She's probably hanging on to that.
Like, oh, you have a good friend at school, you know, be close, like sisterhood, yeah.
I would like to think at this point she's unaware of any bullying.
Yeah. No,
Anyway.
bullying has been sort of just pressure.
She can't even just talk for a few minutes or an hour, as when she tries to hang up or say she has to go, Sarah pressures her to stay or just put her on hold and come back when she's done. I've come home to my wife yelling at Enos for disobeying her and choosing a friend over her own mother, which has caused multiple arguments between us. Mama, what are you doing?
Mama.
You're like, talk to your friend. Why are you always talking to your friend? Stop. You're disrespecting your mother.
I don't like that.
That's
Again,
weird.
10-year-old daughter. What?
That's weird.
No,
it's very weird.
This is very weird.
Enos has also come off the phone in tears, sometimes even having meltdowns because she's overstimulated by all the socializing. However, we cannot communicate to Sarah that Enos needs space sometimes because my wife says she doesn't want anyone but Enos's teachers knowing she's autistic because then she'll be a target.
This has nothing to do with...
Mom is toxifying her daughter's autism.
Yeah, but the conversations have nothing... I don't know. I don't see the correlation of like...
You're
What?
literally conditioning your daughter to be ashamed of being autistic.
This is so bad.
It's you're totally whiffing. Mom
And like,
is,
oh, you have to be like, if she knows that she can't talk for hours and like listen, like what?
This is let's keep going. This has also led to arguments where I try and explain that Enos is going to break or shut down one day, but my wife says I'm not thinking about our daughter's safety and happiness.
Why does Mama
I
sounds...
feel like this is a thing where she's trying, like she's doing the she's like super helicopter, super trying to just, she's so focused on trying to protect her daughter that it's looping all the way back around.
It's so overprotective.
Becoming a negative force in her
it's so
life.
overprotective that it's like
But
suffocation.
She's blinded though by her own like, well, that's not my intention, but
and
it doesn't matter what your intention is.
It sounds like Mama is never wrong. Mama is never wrong here.
Recently, I had a day off work. Enos came off the school bus, seeming happy to see me. As soon as I closed the front door when we entered the house, she bursts into tears, hearing the phone ring, begging me not to let her answer it. When I ask why, she told me she doesn't want to talk to Sarah anymore because, and this is a direct quote from Enos, she keeps making me do things I don't want to or that I'm not supposed to.
If your daughter is literally in tears...
Yeah. It's okay. You don't have to be friends with this person.
No, yeah.
Crazy.
Or like you can just like at least like distance them, or at least put like a wall, or put your foot down. Like the fact that the daughter Enos just feels like she can't have a word.
Yeah, no,
And especially at 10. It hurts. That hurts.
When I asked her why she doesn't ask Sarah to stop, she said Sarah either tells her to do it or she's ignoring her and that she'll tell on her or that she's being a baby. Additionally, the couple of times she was over at Sarah's house, her mom even said, well, here you can do X, Y, and Z or something else to guilt my daughter into doing it. When my wife finds out she does these things, Enos gets spanked and yelled at for disobeying and letting another mom parent her. Okay, so this mom is incredibly toxic, abusive, basically.
I don't
needs to
understand.
be. Mom needs to not be momming.
Mom's not even momming right now. I'm telling you right now, mom's not even momming. This is not momming at all. This is so backwards.
Oh, she's I
don't know. I can't think of the word, but I'm kind of disgusted. Right
yeah,
now
mom
with
is
this parenting.
mom is acting in an absolutely disgusting fashion.
Yeah, I'm not. I know people aren't. You're like, oh, you shouldn't tell how to parent kids and all that stuff. But like, this is.
Yeah, no,
you're not parenting.
No, this is trash. Sarah also has dirt on Enos. As my wife and Sarah's mom gossiped about how bad their children are, she has told Sarah's mom about every meltdown Enos has had, omitting she is autistic and just simply making it seem like Enos is a bad kid.
What the actual F? Just that. OP, you gotta. I don't know. I don't like this.
It really feels like, and I hope I'm wrong here, but I feel like I'm not. It feels like Enos's mom hates her for being autistic. And Enos's mom is ashamed of her being autistic.
No, I was going to say she's ashamed. I was going to say Enos's mom, or mom in this case, does not want it.
Let me rephrase. It's not that she hates her because she's autistic. She hates her autism.
I think she's just ashamed. I don't think the word hate, I don't think she hates it. I think she just is ashamed of.
Well, I don't know, dude. Like, telling all of the stories about her meltdowns without saying that she's autistic. And then just being like painting her like she's a bad kid.
Yeah, I think she's just ashamed of. I don't know. Just keep reading. But I don't want you to keep reading.
Sarah uses these stories to threaten Enos and say that she'll tell their other friends if she doesn't do what she wants. Sarah has even begun leaving Enos out of friend group activities or games because Enos is too skinny, too dumb, or too boring. She has told her teacher, but by the end of the 4th grade, it resulted in Enos being called a tattletale to my wife, to which my wife told Enos about upon returning home and laughing at her, saying she can't be like that or she will have no friends.
I hate this. I don't like this story at all.
She was just simply following the advice my wife and I gave her every school year that if she's being bullied, to tell the teacher. Now, Enos is too scared to speak up and would rather take this abuse than face unnecessary consequences.
This is so stupid.
This mom needs to be thrown into a black hole and disappear. For real. This mom is actively sabotaging her own daughter's
and this is again starting at not a very young age, but at a young age, and I hate this.
Dad needs to step in and take some authority here.
Yeah, OP really needs to. I don't know what's going on.
I knew sometimes Sarah and Enos did not get along, but until today, I didn't know it was this bad. I feel like a failure of a father. I should have noticed all the signs of my wife's abuse when I wasn't home. I should have noticed Sarah and Enos's friendship was toxic, and I should have known Enos was traumatized time after time. I should have noticed her regression with toileting, going nonverbal, and even increased meltdowns as signs of something bigger at play. I don't think counseling will fix my wife and I's relationship, which I agree with. You should just be leaving her and cutting her out of your life and your daughter's life. She is a fiercely negative energy.
No, she needs, I was going to say she at least needs some counseling. Mom needs to be aware of what she's doing is wrong. But
sure, everyone has the right to improve themselves or attempt to improve themselves, but I don't think I think she has forfeited the right to do it within the presence of her daughter.
Yeah, I don't know.
She does not deserve to be able to parent this child. I now realize that she doesn't care about our daughter, and that's a deal breaker through and through. I'm going to see if I can talk to the school tomorrow and see what can be done about this, as there's a new special ed teacher working there now. I might even consider transferring her if it will not be too much for her, as I genuinely do not want her near that awful child and her family again. I'll be putting Enos back in therapy as well. Yes.
Okay, this is getting better.
Thank God, as soon as I was like, where's the dad? Dad is showing up.
Dad is understanding.
Thank God. I don't know what to say or do about my wife, as I realize nothing will make her understand that she has harmed our daughter and caused her so much trauma, normalizing abusive friendships and essentially ruining what little social life she has now, as Sarah is one of the most disliked kids at school and no one talks to people who associate with her. My daughter did not have friends before Sarah, and now she doesn't want them. She wants to socialize, but now she thinks friendships are exhausting and she doesn't want to deal with that. And by the way, we'll always deal with you joining us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and TikTok. When we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, all you got to do is tap our profile. And if you're watching this in the future, we might even be live right now. So go ahead and check it out right after this.
I'm past the point of being mad. I'm just so disappointed and sad.
Damn.
That's how crazy it is. Like, just as like, okay, this is really crappy. This sucks. This just sucks. I feel so bad.
It's a bad situation for Enos. At least the dad was like feeling something, right?
No, the dad
was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm a failure."
Which the dad
I mean, you're not an entire failure as a parent because you're taking active steps now to try to fix this, or I would hope that you have begun that. But like, it's sometimes it's hard to see stuff.
Yeah, especially when there's two parents, and you sometimes, and the other parent was just like brushing it all under the rug, like, oh, and not even brushing it under the rug. She was just making it worse. She was brushing, actively making it worse.
No, she was this mother was like emotionally abusing her daughter. Flat out.
1,000,000,000,000%.
No,
we thought it was like so overprotective.
And actually, well, no, and there's probably a little bit of physical in there too, because she was spanking her and stuff.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
At first, I was like, oh, she's just being so overprotective that it's so bad, and it's like it's a negative overprotective, but it's not even being protective anymore. It's just like
it's circled all the way back.
Yeah.
Let's see how this finishes off here. I'm unsure if my original plan is a good idea or not, so I want to know if there's anything else I should be doing or something I should consider for my daughter. She's currently in her room napping right now, but once she wakes up, I'm going to order her favorite dinner and watch Care Bear movies with her until bedtime, which that made me smile. That's the first time I've smiled at this story. I think I will also consider giving her the day off of school tomorrow because I know she will not mentally be well enough to go to school after everything she's confessed to me and the mental breakdown she had in my arms prior to her nap. She has not been absent at all this year, and I think this one day won't hurt, as I think a day without Sarah is very much needed. And that is the end of that story.
I refuse to take care of my niece after she called me a slur. Her parents need to take responsibility.
Oof, yeah. Take responsibility for your slurs, people.
Well, where is she learning these slurs?
Well, yeah, that's
parents.
Well, yeah.
Hi, everyone. I apologize for any errors in my English as it's not my first language. I, 29 male, and my wife, 30 female, have 2 kids, 5 male and 3 male. My wife works a full-time office job while I work from home with extremely flexible hours. Basically, as long as I meet my deadlines, no one really cares how many hours it took or what time of day I work outside of some Zoom meetings. By the way, this comes from FluffBuffer23 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister, 26 female, let's call her Barb, and her husband, 30 male, let's call him Nick, live nearby and work full-time jobs. They have a daughter, 5 female, let's call her Tracy. Because of my comfortable work schedule, when our kids started going to daycare, we basically decided that I'll be dropping off and picking up my niece from daycare alongside my own kids. I didn't really mind, and I thought it was great for my kids to spend time with their cousin. I get along with Tracy as well, and always thought I was her cool uncle. She's a sweet kid and usually well behaved. So anyway, most days I bring her and my kids back to our house. I make them snacks or dinner, and in the afternoon/evening, my sister comes to pick them up. A few days ago, the 5-year-old kids were watching Bluey on the TV as I was preparing snacks with my 3-year-old, and I suddenly heard yelling. I rushed over to see what's up, and my son was yelling at her that my dad's not a girl. Well, my niece yells back, he's an F slur that's like a girl. The word is different in my language, but the meaning holds, as is the distinction distinction between using it versus simply addressing a gay person. I'm kind of in shock at first, but I turned off the TV and I sat her down and began explaining that this is a very bad word and we shouldn't be calling people that, and that regardless, I'm not a girl. And because this is a bad word, she should apologize to me because we don't act mean to each other in this family. And if I hear this again, I'm going to talk to her parents and she's going to get in trouble. She said she won't get in trouble because that's what her dad called me. I was stunned. I told her that regardless of what her dad said, it's a very bad word and she's not to use it with me or in my presence, and that she should apologize regardless because it hurt my feelings, which she did because she's really a good kid. We talked some more and I prodded her about other things her parents said, and from what I gather, getting info out of a 5-year-old being obviously a difficult and unreliable process, Nick, my brother-in-law, told my sister in Tracy's presence that men shouldn't be sitting at home all day and doing childcare, that cooking is a woman's duty, as is cleaning and really most of the things I do around my house, and that I'm a girl. I interpret this as not really a man because I do housework and my wife earns more money than me. I explained to her the best I could that men and women could work from an office or from home, and that my wife or Barb working long hours from the office doesn't make them men, and vice versa. But I didn't dwell on it with her since it's not really her fault. But I mean, it's not her fault, but I do think it's good that you had that conversation because, again, hatred is learned and we need to teach our children at a very young age to be accepting, and that's a process that you have to be on top of. I didn't immediately bring it up with my sister because I figured it would be a difficult conversation and I didn't want to have it in front of the kids, and I wanted to talk it out with my wife first as well. I did talk to my wife that evening and she seemed really upset as well. I told her that I think I should demand an apology from Nick and my sister, and she agreed. I called my sister and told her what happened, and she said that it's just a word and I'm blowing it out of proportion, and obviously Nick doesn't dislike me. I said I don't care whether he does or doesn't dislike me. He's talking crap about me behind my back to my niece and to her, and she's apparently very chill about this rather than standing up for me. She said that was how Nick was and I should stop being a drama queen. I told her to F off, and if that was how she felt, she could pick up her own child from daycare, and hung up. I know it was really short notice and rude, but I really felt like I was being disrespected by people I did so much for over the years and were my family. My wife said she understood and that I shouldn't back down until I at least get a proper apology. Bubbles Marie says words only have the power you give them. However, some words have terrible, terrible connotations and histories and shouldn't be used. The next 2 days were a weekend and there was no daycare. I assumed there would be calls or texts from Barb, but there was nothing. In fact, the suspicious lack of any messages or calls made me think she didn't take my words seriously, and this actually got me even more angry. She obviously doesn't take it seriously because, I mean, just from how she reacted when you told her. She was like, just a word.
Yeah.
You're being a drama queen.
Get over it, baby.
The calls did come when it was time to pick up Tracy for daycare, and I obviously didn't come. I dropped my own kids off and didn't even answer for a while. I know it was petty, but I was stewing for 2 days and figured letting Barb stew for a few hours seemed really appropriate and felt really good. Around noon, when she called again, I did pick up. I was going to smugly tell her that I was ready for an apology and we would put it behind us, but I didn't get to. Instead, she went off on me about how I was irresponsible and I flaked and she was so late for work because of me, to which I just said, I told you I wasn't going to pick her up. You had 2 days to make arrangements. And she kept yelling at me, so I hung up. Again.
Boom, great.
No, that's ridiculous for her. I mean, we know that she's not reasonable.
How could you do the thing you said you would do?
She kept calling and sending me texts about picking Tracy up from daycare, to which I said, I will not be, then stopped replying. When I came to pick my kids up, Tracy was expecting me to take her as well, and I didn't, which was very rough on me and her both. Like, I know it's not her fault, and she's 5, and she suddenly doesn't get to go over to our place and play and have snacks. But at the same time, I didn't want to just let things go. I felt like it deserved an apology and still do. So I explained that me and her mom were fighting, but I'll pick her up again when we work it out. She obviously didn't take it well because she's 5, but I apologized, took my kids, and left. Well, a bit later, I got a call from my mom. Barb roped her into picking up Tracy, but my mom is disabled, so she was having a really hard time with Tracy and asked me why I was being mean to Barb. I told her everything, expecting her to take my side, but instead, she also pulled you know how Nick is. If everyone knows how Nick is, why is he still around?
Yeah, You know how Nick gets.
I hate that. I literally hate when people are like, oh, it's just the way they are. No.
It's just a slur. He's just using slurs.
To which I replied that the more I realize how Nick is, the less I like it. And if he thinks all this crap in general and about me specifically, I sure as F ain't going to be doing free labor for him. She said I was blowing this all out of proportion, and I told her I wasn't the one doing it because all I asked for was an effing apology. And everyone else seemed to prefer all of this crap to just giving it to me. To which she said I should just be the bigger man and not let it get to me. To which I said I was done and to have fun with Tracy. That evening, well, I would have been like, well, according to Nick, I'm not a man, so.
Yeah. Hey, funny story.
Can't be that. That evening, I got a call from Nick himself, which I was hesitant about, but chose to answer on the off chance that I was actually about to get the apology. Apparently, my behavior is causing Barb great distress, and we're family, and how can I do this to my own sister?
And slur?
Hypocritical.
And he hits you with the slur right after.
I told him that since we're family, how can he talk crap about me to his kid, which I take care of daily? And he said he was only joking and it was all in good fun. I told him it was neither good nor fun for me, and I want my apology. He blew up on me, telling me I was a slur and couldn't take a joke and called me a hysterical little girl. I told him to F off and that I was done with him and hung up. This led to a bunch of calls from Barb and my mom, which I didn't answer. Crazy. Barb texted me that it wasn't fair for Tracy to pay the price for me being petty, and I told her that it wasn't fair for Tracy to pay the price of her parents being ungrateful pieces of crap, to which she just texted / yelled at me a bunch about how she was going to lose her job and I was being cruel to her and to mom. I told her I was done, and unless her next message was an apology, I will be blocking her number, and it wasn't. So now I blocked her. Also, the fact that OP was giving them so many chances to apologize. Like literally even now, it was like, if you apologize, we can figure something out. Past few days, my mom's been picking up Tracy, and it's been really rough seeing her in daycare and explaining that grandma's going to pick her up, which she hates, and tells me she isn't having fun with grandma and wants to come over to our place, and it's breaking my heart. But at the same time, I've never gotten a single apology from anyone but the 5-year-olds.
Wow.
And I feel like letting this go would just be telling my family that it's okay to ignore my boundaries. But at the same time, I do love my niece, and I don't want to traumatize her or have her resent me. She is a good kid, and none of it is her fault. So am I the a-hole, and what do I do? You're not the a-hole.
You're not the a-hole, but I think it was a pretty dastardly move not picking up Tracy.
But there is an edit. Holy crap, you guys. Post barely been up 4 hours, and I'm already so grateful for all your support and advice. The angle of Nick actually wanting Barb to quit her job is not one I considered, but now I think it might actually have merit, and it makes me very worried for her. At the same time, I can't really do much until she at least acknowledges that that's just how Nick is, so stop overreacting isn't going to fly with me. I also assume it's only a matter of time until my mom is no longer an option. She's already having a hard time, so I hope I get a chance to talk to her about it. Ideally because she sees my point of view, but I'll settle for her because she's desperate. I didn't know what sort of childcare they'll be able to afford. They took out a large mortgage on a house they can barely afford. I also make certain to stress upon Tracy that I love her and none of this is her fault. Thank you all. Update! There is an update. Just to clarify a few things. My dad passed away from a heart attack 2 years ago, which came as no surprise because he smoked a lot and lived a pretty unhealthy lifestyle. So we weren't really surprised. It wasn't his first either. He was a great grandpa and a great dad before that, and right up to the end. His death left my mom alone and she doesn't work. My mom has MS, which is basically mostly steady, but slowly gets worse over time and flares up occasionally, and is made worse by stress, which my mom is going through now. A flare-up often means the level she gets back to isn't quite what it was before, so we mostly try to keep her stress-free. My dad had life insurance, so her house is paid for and she had a little money, but there's also a caretaker coming over 3 times a week to clean, cook, do shopping, etc., which she can't afford, so me and my wife pay for. So again, this is just ridiculous. Like, OP is not only taking care of Tracy, picking her up, dropping her off, letting her hang out at the house, is also taking care of his mom financially.
Yeah.
And they have the audacity to spin this on him and refuse to apologize?
Well, It is just a word.
It's just a word.
It is just a word after all.
As I mentioned in the comment on the original post, me and my wife are doing probably better off financially than Barb and Bill. They have a fancy house and fancy cars, but they have a mortgage and loans. So the great response I got made me think about this crap again, and I thought how I could stand my ground without giving up on Tracy altogether, and figured there was no perfect solution, and I had to settle on something. I took the day off work because I just needed to process and deal with this crap. One comment on the original post really got to me about how someone would feel in Tracy's place, and I just can't do it to her now. I know this isn't the update some of you have wanted, but I just can't.
No, it's the one I wanted. I'm very happy. Yay!
That's the thing. You
Good, happy for
can't look at
Tracy.
Tracy without giving in. I love her like she was one of my own, and my kids do as well. And it's not her fault. I unblocked my sister because obviously if I'm going to be interacting with her child, she needs to be able to reach me. I talked to my mom during the day, and she was again distraught about having to pick Tracy up, which is pretty hard on her. I told her I was willing to do it, but I'm coming over and she's going to have to hear me out, to which she agreed. I talked to her for a long time, avoiding snark and lashing out this time, and just explaining that basically how serious Nick was or how he is doesn't matter. I used that rocking the boat analogy someone linked to in comments and further stressed my point by saying that it shouldn't matter if I was justified or not in getting upset. I am her child, and if something upsets me, it at least warrants giving me the benefit of the doubt before siding against me. And eventually, it seemed to come through. She apologized, and we hugged it out, and I think she got it. She's not a very confrontational person, and generally really tries to keep the peace, and this time she went about it. I'm not saying I'm not mad, but she's my mom, and she apologized. I explained to her that she shouldn't be covering for me because that means I have no leg to stand on when confronting Nick and Barb, and she was receptive to it. I texted my sister that we needed to talk and I'll drop Tracy off at their place tonight, to which I got a stoic thumbs up. I picked Tracy up from daycare today and she was overjoyed. She was actually a little possessive of me, staying by my side all afternoon instead of running off to play, which was cute but also made me feel a little like crap because that's the impact of me not picking her up. I explained to the best of my ability that she's not in trouble and I'm not angry with her, but I am angry with her parents and we need to work that out. But I'll do my best to not stop picking her up anymore, which she was really happy about. I do appreciate that OP's being kind of really open about this with the kid.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, me and your parents are having kind of an argument, like a grown-up thing's going on, which has really nothing to do with you.
I think that's a good enough explanation too
Yeah.
for a 5-year-old to believe.
I think so. I dropped her off in the evening, and once she was in bed, I sat down to talk with Barb and Nick. I told them flat out that Mom wasn't going to be covering for them anymore, and if they didn't let me finish what I had to say, I would get up and leave, and they can find new arrangements for Tracy. I didn't mean it, but they didn't need to know that. They weren't happy, but they were willing to listen, so that's progress. Or at least the threat working. I explained that this was the situation now. I don't need them to mean their apology, but I sure as F was going to need one. This was principle now. I have spent years taking care of their child, and if they wanted to be a-holes, I wasn't going to do it for free. So this was how it goes now. I am no longer going to be dropping her off in the morning until further notice. There was no excuse for the way Nick acted, and it needed to have some lasting impact. I was no longer going to be paying for family outings and family vacations. It was a man's job to support his family, so good luck with that. Burn.
Right back in your face.
The exception is Tracy, who is always welcome. If I hear any more BS being talked about me behind my back, I was going to start charging them for my service. My plan was to dangle the thing they want. Childcare. Restoring it, but at the same time giving some repercussions and threat of things getting hard for them again. I also laid it on pretty thick about how I am a man, so I obviously have my pride and can't have that being disrespected, even by my own family, who I obviously love. Don't really consider Nick family, but figured he wouldn't figure that out. Nick was not happy about this, and my sister actually had to take him outside to talk it out without me. But eventually, they did agree to it, and I got my admittedly half-hearted apology. I could probably press it further, but I didn't want to risk having to either back down or hurt Tracy again, so I took this. By the way, you can take yourself over to us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap her profile.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit left, but what do we think about this new and improved solution?
It sounds perfect to me.
I think it sounds like a good solution. You've got what you wanted, and
Yeah.
you still get to hang out with Tracy. There were no tears and no warm hugs, but I get to walk away with what I wanted, giving them some payback without having to give up my time with Tracy. I still plan to talk to my sister alone about her relationship with Nick and about how she sees me, but I figure I should let things calm down a bit before I do. I know this isn't the resolution some, maybe most of you wanted, but at the end of the day, I need to find a solution I can live with. And for me, this is it. We'll update if anything changes. And that is the end of that story. I think that's a positive ending.
That's a great ending.
Yeah.
I refuse to accept gifts from my estranged sister for my kids. And it's breaking my heart.
Breaking my heart.
Oh, don't go breaking my heart.
You couldn't if I tried.
Both of my siblings disowned me. December 2021, my brother, 37 male, disowned me for reasons I can't say here. It involves a problem with his son that had affected the safety of our family for 3 years leading up to being disowned. I contacted the authorities after an incident. I didn't tell a soul. I was prepared to take this to the grave. I wanted it to be a wake-up call. I wanted my family to stop ignoring it and get him some help instead of convincing themselves that it would eventually just go away. By the way, this comes from user Feminism Takeover on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, bad gas travels fast in a small town, even when you report it to authorities. Word got around to my sister, who called my brother and told him to expect a visit from a social worker. My brother and his wife called my mom immediately saying I made it up, even though my brother had personally spoken to my mom and sister about this many times. My brother and his wife told my mom they were disowning me, and if I was in her life, then they would also disown her. They didn't speak to her or let her see their kids for a year. Spring/summer 2023, my sister officially disowned me. Things had been slightly different since she called my brother. She would hint about it sometimes, but then immediately didn't want to talk about it. She stopped responding to my messages. Turns out I was blocked. My mom called me crying one day. My siblings had started a group chat with my mom about me. My sister's messages were long. They said everything and nothing at the same time. A direct quote, "She's done so many terrible things to me." I read the whole conversation 3 times over, and I couldn't find a single clue what exactly she was accusing me of doing to her, or even a specific situation or conversation she was referencing. My mom had no idea what she meant either. The chat devolved into my siblings throwing insults at my mom, and at one point my brother said, "This is why you're still single."
Damn.
My mom and sister have reconciled since. My mom and brother, kinda. Both siblings still want nothing to do with me, which is devastating. I never had the chance to speak to my brother about reporting his son. So here come the birthday gifts. My twins turned 7. We had a big party with about 12 kids total and some family, and everyone had a blast. The next day, my mom sent me a text telling me a package arrived from my sister, and it has gifts for my kids, and I didn't respond for a few days. I feel uncomfortable with it. My kids miss their cousins, aunts, and uncles a lot. It has become a source of confusion and sadness. A tangible item in our home from Auntie will inevitably remind them of their family more often. They will ask more often, leading to more confusion and sadness. I don't see it as a gift. I see it as a source of more heartache. I told my mom this. I asked her to either throw it out or keep it at her house. She said, great. Now all 3 of her kids are being rotten and not to talk to her about it. I told her I didn't disown anyone or call her and yell at her for 2 hours. I'm just not willing to put my kids through more stress, wondering why they haven't seen half their family in so long. She told me to stop dragging her into it. Okay, well, we've got bullet points.
We've got bullet points.
First of all, she brought it up. It's always been a sensitive topic the past 3 years, anything to do with either of my siblings. I never mention them to her at all, and I don't say much when she brings them up. Back when my siblings did the group chat with her, my mom told me that it's not really about me. She said that they were mad because she wasn't doing what they wanted. It disowned me, and because they are all jealous of the close relationship I have with her. I think there's some truth to that, but I don't think it's the only factor at play. I think there's also some childhood trauma. Our parents got divorced when I was 8 years old, and a few months later we moved away so my mom could go to school. We went from having a stay-at-home mom to having a mom who was suddenly in school full-time and working full-time. My siblings had to stay home and look after me instead of doing whatever it is they would have been doing otherwise. I think they grew to resent that, saw me as a burden, and still see me as a burden. Now she's saying that it's my problem I'm dragging her into. So is it about you or not?
Yeah.
But that's a reach, being like, well, you liked me when we were children, so maybe this is actually about you?
Did you think about that?
We need more.
I need more
Anyway.
information.
God, back when my siblings were being butt hats to my mom, my instinct to protect her overshadowed my own feelings. 100% of my pain and venting was heard by my friends, and a lot of bawling my eyes out when my kids were with their dad. Not a chance in heck I was going to express that to her during that time and make her feel even worse. Now it seems like she thinks me and my children don't give a crap, and we are just bystanders in this awful situation that she has experienced, and like it hasn't been hurtful at all to us. I feel like she's completely disregarding that we lost about half of the immediate family from my childhood, 2 in-laws, 3 nephews, and 1 niece. They might not speak to us ever again, and if they do, I doubt we will ever grow close. It's a tough pill to swallow being tossed out by half of your family so easily. Anyways, my mom feels like I'm being a petty a-hole, trying to hurt her and dragging her into a sibling feud by refusing the gift. I feel like I'm protecting my children. Am I the a-hole? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
By refusing this gift, you are not protecting your children. You're deepening this
divide.
Yeah, exactly. You could give them a thing.
I also understand not wanting to give the gifts to them because they are absolutely going to ask, why aren't we seeing our family?
Well, and then is the reason you don't want them to ask that because you don't want to have to explain what you did? What are we talking about? The kids should know exactly what's going on. Some people think I could have gotten rid of it without involving my mom. And without my kids already receiving the gift. Let me clear that up. My sister lives on the other side of the country. Her and my mother have a gift exchange / middleman situation worked out. They ship the present and tell the other person blank is for so-and-so. When the box arrives, they wrap the present for the other and the gift is given to the intended recipient directly. If I had not intercepted the gift before my mother brought it over to my house, she would have just taken the gift out of the shipping parcel, wrapped it herself, brought it directly to my house, walked inside holding it, and loudly announced to my kids, "This is from Auntie." At that point, the damage would have been done. Also note that my sister has had my address saved in both her iCloud contacts and Amazon account for years now. She could have just sent it directly to me. Honestly, there's a 50-50 chance that she either sent it to my mom's house out of habit or intentionally to put the gift in my mom's hands instead of mine, knowing it might make me uncomfortable. The boys were more likely to receive it that way, and it would be harder for me to intercept. She is a crap stirrer by nature. My gut instinct was that she was using my children as pawns in an effort to upset me. I have no idea if there's any truth to that at all. It was just my first gut instinct. The other half of my brain tells me she has the awareness that it also hurts my children and wouldn't be worth it. And there's an update.
Man, oh man.
Are we gonna dig in?
I'm like trying to think of if I have anything to offer this story, and I just keep hoping that we'll get more information on it.
My mom has, quote, forgotten that anything ever happened, making me question my sense of reality.
That's so funny.
2 days ago, I posted about accepting a gift from an estranged family member who disowned me. This family member is still no contact with me, but has managed to establish contact from a distance in an unhealthy way. This new dynamic is confusing and hurtful to my kids. After reading the comments, I came to the conclusion that I'm allowed to have boundaries, but my delivery wasn't great. The way I see it, we've been disowned by my siblings. If either of them reach out to me in the future, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But for now, my family and I deserve to live in peace. Children are not pawns at our disposal to hurt each other. Last night, I sent a text to my mom that was simple, kind, and clear. I asked her to stop speaking about either of my siblings around me and not to act as a middleman between me and my siblings in any way. FaceTiming them and putting my kids on the phone, updating us on their lives, being a gift exchange middleman, etc. I pointed out that in 3 years, I have mentioned my siblings unprompted one time via text to tell her I wasn't comfortable with her taking my kids to my brother's house alone. So I think, let me reiterate now.
Yeah.
Because there was some comment about how this had been going on for 3 years or something. But I thought that comment was about like the situation with the kid. But the 3 years is going on with the estrangement.
Yes.
The disowning.
Yeah. And it seems like now the mother has been this middleman to have the OP's kids meet up with and talk to the estranged siblings.
Yeah.
Which is really weird dynamic.
All other conversations have been initiated by her. Accusing me of dragging her into it wasn't right. The other day I was responding with a boundary, and I think it would be best for her to stay out of it completely from now on and just let it be. I'm going to quote her response here. My name, are you out at your dad's? I don't know what emotional thing you're going through or if something has happened, but something has obviously made some feeling come up for you. I'm not going to read this whole text. I can tell by the first few sentences it isn't anything to do with me because you and I have been fine. What? Yo.
She's like, I couldn't possibly be causing any problems with you.
Yeah.
I know we're fine.
After being like, I'm not reading all that, and clearly you're in some kind of mood or whatever. So
kind of tiff that has nothing to do with me, of course.
yeah, so get over it, I guess, and then talk to me later because I'm not reading all that. By the way, we want you to read
all these stories with us
with every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap on our profile until you're in the live. I wish I could articulate how I'm feeling right now, but my brain is fried from all this. Us too.
Yeah.
And I'm questioning my own reality. I feel like my entire family views me as an unworthy, unlovable pain in the butt, which is how I felt for a good portion of my childhood. As an adult, it's somehow more gut-wrenching. I want a new family. My dad will not touch the issue. I asked him about my siblings one time since being disowned, after hearing a narrative that my dad wasn't going to invite me on the vacation because of my brother, and the only thing he would say is leave me out of it. In general, this is a good call for him. It also leaves me on an island now. And that is the end. I think you're going to have to swallow your pride, brother. If you want to stop being on the island, start swimming.
I guess my advice / question is for OP, is this a situation where you want to go no contact? Is this something where, because someone in the chat said, like, you don't want siblings that are going to put your kids in danger and stuff, which is true. Is this a situation where they are doing something bad and you're like, I don't want to ever see them. I don't feel like kids are safe around them? Because in that case, stay no contact.
Sure.
Or
if there was a real valid reason why you did that, sure.
Or is this a situation where they have taken a step back away from you and you're like, well, they are not talking to me, so I'm not talking to them. You have to think about this situation and decide which of those it is, because is it your desire to keep your kids safe, or is it pride? And that's you have to decide for yourself which it is.
That is the end of that
We just don't know.
My parents are Christian, but I don't believe in God. They think I've been corrupted.
Oh boy, uncomfortable.
Pretty heavy. So I don't even know where to begin with this one. It's been a thorn in my flesh for as long as I can remember. Clever. Okay. For context, I am a 22 female and have recently graduated college. I grew up in a relatively normal environment with two loving parents. They were never overly strict and have often let me get away with more than I should have, LOL. I grew up as a non-denominational evangelistic Christian, same, and went to church every Sunday, was regularly enrolled in Bible study, vacation Bible school, and Christian camp over the summer. So there was always little to no doubt that the Bible was the truth to our existence from my perspective. Despite this, I never particularly wanted to go to church and saw it mostly as a chore. It does get kind of boring. I will say.
Yeah. That's, I mean, especially as a kid, that makes sense.
Yeah, growing up, hated it.
Yeah.
It's like being drugged to church. As early as I can remember, I never got along with any of the other kids at my age that were in the church. I always found them to be self-righteous and often felt outcast. The Pharisees. By the way, this comes from Frog Lover 420 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
You can't say 420?
Oh, we can. I just didn't read it right.
Okay.
Sorry. I can't. No. You know, I can say it, but I'm just dyslexic. Okay.
Okay.
I remember one specific instance where I was at Christian camp at 9 years old, and my vocabulary consisted of phrases like "that sucks" and "what the heck." In response, of a group of girls reprimanded me for it and began to subtly exclude me from their hangouts. Dude, that is so sorry. In the Bible, Jesus is like talking to the Pharisees of like, you should include everyone just because they're different from you and not super as righteous. You should include everyone.
But then these guys are excluding him.
The girls are being these Pharisees. They're like, you say what the heck? No.
That's crazy.
You can't hang out with us.
Dang. That's hard because it's also such a kid thing to do, too.
Yeah. Similar situations like this persisted through my adolescence, where I often felt like I didn't belong in a church community. Oh, that's so sad. They missed the point. I also took issue with a lot of things that were taught to young children as well. When I was in the 6th grade, I attended a weekly Bible study. One particular lesson had to do with what girls should and shouldn't wear in the presence of young boys. I took explicit issue with this because I feel like it was morally wrong for me to confine myself in order for a boy to control his natural urges. I talked to my mom about this, and she ended up siding with the teacher, to my dismay. As I grew older and went through puberty, I entered a very difficult stage with Christianity. I repressed any attraction I had to the opposite sex in fear of sinning. I would have obsessive and repetitive thoughts about how if I didn't ask for forgiveness for all of my sins, I would be severely punished by God.
Dang.
She wasn't taught about a loving God. She was taught about a very that kind of God.
Right.
Vengeful God.
Oh, that's hard. That's
That
hard.
is so hard. I felt like I was at odds with everything I had been taught. My parents continued to enforce Christian values onto me, making it sometimes difficult having conversations with them, specifically my mother. When I entered college, I had a sharky relationship with Christianity. I felt very conflicted with everything, and no one seemed to have an answer that satisfied me. As I spent more time away from home in college, it hit me all of a sudden. What if everything I'd been taught wasn't true at all? I saw people from all walks of life at school, good and happy people who have never grown up Christian. I know this sounds crazy, but I had been taught that it was impossible to have true happiness or healthy relationships if you weren't Christian. I was taught that too.
Really? Were you? Oh, that's crazy.
You always were pointed it towards Jesus. He's like, yeah. But I could see where this is conflicting.
Yeah.
While I began to gain healthy and loyal friendships with my peers, I realized this wasn't necessarily true. I strayed further away from Christianity, and the religious guilt and obsessive thoughts I had my entire life began to grow smaller. I realized my upbringing was only one of many, and no one had the same religious experience as myself. I felt stupid for not realizing it sooner. You can't put that on yourself.
Yeah, it's how you were taught and grown up.
Yeah.
You know, that's not your fault.
Yeah, currently I'm in a weird spot with religion. While it gave me so much explanation of why we exist, I had a strong set of moral principles. I have had a hard time believing anything as absolute fact. At this point, I really don't know the answer to anything, but I hope as I grow older, I will come to a conclusion for myself that will be satisfactory. Now, after that long-winded backstory, I want to bring up my current relationship with my parents. My parents seem very Christian and set in their beliefs. It's hard to even talk to my mother specifically without her mentioning the Bible. I've spoke to her before about where I am 2 years ago, but I don't think it was any help. I know what she thinks of non-Christians as well, which makes me sick to my stomach knowing that that's what she thinks of me now. She believes they are essentially lost, and as I've said before, will never find true happiness. Anytime I'm struggling, I want to turn to my mother for advice. I am met with the same response: if you turn to God, everything will fall into place. I'm old enough to know that struggles are normal for someone my age, but it's hard knowing that I have such a disconnect with my mother. I've lived an extremely privileged life, and I am grateful for everything my parents have done for me. And while this issue is minuscule to the grand scheme of things, it's so hard to know that there will always be a huge rift in my relationship with my parents. As they grow older, I have become even more anxious about our disconnect, knowing that I don't have time with them forever, which kills me inside every single day. Even if I try to talk to my mother about respecting my own journey with religion, she will never accept it because to her, believing in the Bible is the only truth and will give me eternal salvation. Even to this day, I will carry a significant amount of guilt, and I will have issues with my and feel extraordinarily guilty when it comes to spicy sleep. I often fear I'm going to HE double hockey sticks despite not believing in it, and I'm scared that I will never find true happiness and I will one day have failed a marriage because I am no longer Christian. Even though I know modesty is completely subjective, I sometimes feel I'm sleazy for showing too much cleavage, etc. Even if I don't believe those thoughts are true, they still cause me anxiety because they were ingrained in me as a child. Oh, this is so tough.
Oh my gosh. This is so hard.
You're understanding and realizing the thoughts and issues. I mean, therapy, I think, would be great.
Would be great. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is hard because, like, I don't know. I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I grew up without any religion in my life. But I've had many friends that are Christian and friends that were of other religions as well, and like learning all about that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It's just like, it just seems so strange. I don't even know how to talk about this.
No. It is strange. And like, I mean, I was Christian. I grew up Christian.
I'm not saying the religion sounds strange. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, it can't be strange.
My sentence, I didn't know how to finish my sentence.
It's strange
Seems strange to grow up that way and to have all of these like feelings of pressure on you about everything in your life. You know what I mean? That just sounds very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I grew up the same as OP. I feel the same as she does in a lot of ways. And, you know, it is tough going that way. I think like a therapist could help, and also having a community.
Yeah.
That what has helped me is I found a community that are Christian, and they're not like those group of girls. You say bad words, I'm not going to be your friend. They accept me for who I am and where I'm at, and I'm willing to have those kind of conversations.
Right.
And they still like I have a good friend. Anytime I have issues, I talk to him, and him and I have the same mindset, and he backs me up and he knows where I'm at with this kind of stuff.
That's good.
And that support's great. I just hate that people treat you this way, and they don't love you for who you are, and now you feel bad for being who you are.
Right. I know, that's the hard part.
And that's not how it's supposed to go.
Right.
At all.
That's because so many things are just like, I don't know. It just seems hard to like I feel like growing up when you're young. How old is OP to be learning?
22.
22.
She's your age.
Oh yeah. I forgot I was 22 for a second. Anyway, I feel like when you're young and like growing up just through high school and middle school and stuff like that, you're already learning about so many rules about how you should act towards other people, how you should carry yourself, how you should just like be as a person. You're already figuring out that so much, like all that based on your own experiences, and there's so much that you can take from other people's experiences and learning from other stories and stuff, but it just seems really hard to have like so many rules like put on you just from religion and from your parents with religion, when there's already so many things like that, so many pressures like that from everywhere else in your life. You know what I mean? I don't know, that just seems rough.
I'm so sorry, OP.
Yeah,
I wish I could turn to my mother and father, the people I love and respect more than anything in the world. I can't, because they will just reaffirm my fears. It truly feels like there is no way out of the situation, and one day I will just have to accept it. I really don't want that to be the case, because my parents are good people, and I want to be able to be close with them without feeling like there is this big wall of religion dividing us. They are proud of me and everything I have accomplished, but they still think my beliefs are fundamentally wrong, and that I have been corrupted by modern culture. I guess I'm asking for advice on how to navigate this situation without feeling too defeated. I don't want to feel terrible knowing that my parents think I'm lost and I'm leading a life devoted of fulfillment. How can I amend this rift? Any people in similar situations that know what I can say or do to make them understand? But I hope you understand that we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I again didn't grow up this way, so I really don't know how you would go about it. Yeah. Honestly, what do you think?
I think it's super sad you've been in a Christian community and no one has been able to relate to you and meet you where you are, because Jesus is all about meeting you where you are.
Right.
And it sucks that no one in this community has done that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so tough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if like trying to understand that, like, it seems like your parents aren't going to change.
Yeah, no.
Right. So you're not going to try to change your parents, especially if they're so adamant about this. I think it would probably just be about like accepting that this is just how it's gonna be, not in the way that like, you know, it's gonna be a problem forever, but just like if you can find some sort of like peace and acceptance in yourself that like it's okay for you to have a difference in belief than your parents, then maybe that will mean that you'll be able to kind of like, you know, deal with them not agreeing. You know what I mean? Like if you kind of just believe like, okay, this is how I am, this is an okay situation, it's fine that we disagree, then maybe you can just like take some deep breaths when they don't quite feel the same way, and you'll be able to kind of shrug it off a bit easier. I don't know. I don't know. That's really hard though.
Yeah, I'm on the train of hopefully you're in just a tough spot with God right now, and that like someone can help you and meet you where you are, and he can meet you where you are. And your parents, like, I hate that your parents have this idea and like this, like, it's so sad that the parents are like, anyone that isn't saved is lost and they don't know true happiness. Like, that's not how we should be viewing, like, as a Christian, like, that's not how you're supposed to be viewing people. It should be like, you know, hopefully they do know that Jesus loves them. I just hope that everyone knows that Jesus loves them, and it's just like, it's tough that in this way people just don't go about it that way.
Yeah,
breaks my heart, really.
And on the other hand too, it's like if you don't ever like go back to it, it absolutely is possible and very, very doable to like have a fulfilling and happy life without all of that, because I feel like, you know, everyone has their different experiences with that stuff. Everyone grew up a different way. Everyone, you know, there's so many other religions in the world, and whatever you feel connected to.
I am pretty biased. I will say to this story, I am pretty biased.
I feel like we're both biased in like the opposite ways. We're like OP's like two different mindsets on this thing. But yeah, I mean, whatever you choose, like there is an absolutely possible way for you to be happy either way. And I think, I don't know, I have heard, this might be going on a tangent for too long, but I have heard someone explain like just general judgment in a way, like not even just with religion, but with anything. feeling of like if someone is like taught that like they can't be a certain way. Like I think it was explained with like it was like someone talking about like fat people or something like that. It was like people have been taught to be ashamed of themselves if they gain any weight. So if they see someone else that has gained weight or is fat or anything like that and they are not feeling ashamed, then they get mad at that person and start judging that person and want to tear them down because it's like, wait a second. I am not allowed to do this. So why are you allowed to do this? That makes me mad. You know what I mean? So it might be something similar in this situation. So I don't know if there's like a way to kind of just like
It's
understand.
It's going to be a lot of rewiring for
yeah,
LP.
it'll be like, maybe there's a way to understand where your parents are at and to just be like, you know what? They have their own experience with this. They have their own pressures that they're dealing with. Maybe some of it isn't related to me or it doesn't need to apply to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so complicated.
Super complicated. Finish
So
out the story. Disclaimer, I understand that a significant portion of my reasoning for no longer being Christian has to do with the way people have corrupted the word of God. I see where that is. I also have a hard time believing the actual doctrine as well, but in fear of this post being longer than it already is, I did not want to include it. I think very highly of Christianity for what it truly is. I just don't necessarily believe it. I will not accept any hates towards Christians, and I discourage any person to do so.
I think that's good. I think a lot of people jump towards like hating and judging religion and especially Christianity because of a lot of examples of judgmental Christians, but it's like that's not, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, fundamentally we're not supposed to judge. As Christians,
Yeah.
as a Christian, you're not supposed to judge other non-Christians.
Right.
But as a Christian, you are supposed to judge, you are supposed to hold your other fellow Christians accountable.
So yeah, don't hate Christians or Christianity.
And Christians don't hate
Just-
non-Christians.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
Come on. You're supposed to love everyone.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, that's so tricky. That's so difficult. But yeah, hopefully you can find people that are in your position as well and they can help you through it.
Facts.
But that's the end of that story.
I had a massive collection of rocks and minerals, but my family sold everything.
Sold everything, not your pet rock. I think of those pet rocks in like 2010. Anyone else?
This girl. I'm a college freshman and I'm currently visiting my mom over a break. When I got there, I saw a crystal that was in my old room on display and asked about it. My mom then told me that the rest was gone after the yard sale.
But where did it go?
By the way, this comes from Pebble 101 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So for context, my parents were moving the same time I was getting ready for college. So the house was in total chaos, basically. I had a rock collection that I had been growing for around 10 years and had cost me over $1,000.
Honestly, kind of impressive that it stayed under 1,000.
Really?
10 years for any sort of collection? That seems like it'd cost more. I've probably
Well, I know how you spend. I
Well, I probably spent more than $1,000 on fabric alone, on my collection of fabric. Anyway.
Some were gifts from old friends or family. Some I had found in special destinations and significance. Yeah, just do that.
That makes sense.
And all of them were important to me. Since the collection took up to 2 cabinets, I knew I couldn't take it to my dorm room and decided to pack them up. My brother also likes rocks, so I thought he could be a good fit to look after them while I couldn't. Or at least I decorate my room when my parents bought a house. Apparently, my brother picked through the boxes and told my mother to sell everything he didn't want to keep. My aunt and mother took a few each that they liked, but hundreds of rocks were either donated or sold, with none of the profit going to me without my knowledge.
Oh my gosh. No profit?
When I learned this, I broke down in tears. I know they're just rocks, but they brought me a lot of happiness, and I can't believe they're just gone. Writing this out makes me cry again. My mother feels really sorry, and I don't blame anyone for this, but I'm crushed. Man, dude, you just hit rock bottom. How do I deal with this loss and not take it out on my family? I'm not mad at anyone. I just wish I'd explained better or something, and I don't want any of my family to think I'm angry at them. We have an edit. What do you think?
Aw.
That's so sad.
I feel so bad. Opie is being so nice about this too, saying that like, they can't blame anyone. I don't feel like you can.
You can blame the brother, maybe.
Yeah, selling it without your knowledge and none of the money's going to you. I think you can be mad about that. I think that's totally allowed.
Yeah, and if you really want to scorch earth, sue.
Sure, that's an option.
Get $1,000 back. You know, you could not be angry at everyone if you get $1,000 out of it. But those are memories.
Yeah, no, that's definitely hard.
That is super
10
tough.
years and parting with that stuff. That sounds really hard.
I wish I had a friend that really liked rocks because every time at their birthday, I just give them a rock. I
Oh,
just
it'd be
would
so
find
easy.
one.
You know exactly what they want.
Yeah, Like, boom, there's a rock.
Yeah. And then it'd be easy to like make it memorable too. Be like, this is a rock from when we did this. And I knew you'd really like it.
And it's literally just the one that you picked up the side of the road before you got to see.
No, don't do that. Make it real.
That's what I would do.
Anyway, let's get back.
Edit. My family didn't mean to steal. They just assumed I was giving them away. It wasn't necessarily malicious, but it was definitely wrong. Also, I think the reason I'm struggling to be mad is because me and my mom have a really good relationship. She's the person I can always rely on. I'm really hoping the situation is the misunderstanding I see as it is. Thank you for all your replies. I haven't had anyone talk to about this all day since my friends are all busy and the other people around me are my family. Edit 2. My parents are well off, so I don't think they sold them for the money. Any money made was probably put into household funds, and I doubt they made $1,000 off the items. That's just how much I've estimated I've spent. I would feel very guilty to ask them for that much, especially since they are paying for my college. So I'm thinking about maybe asking them to buy something of equivalent value, trading all the little rocks for a big rock.
Just one big rock.
One big rock. I've never had to bargain with my parents, so I'm not sure how this will go down. I'm going to talk to them tonight since my dad is here now. I'm going to take the advice of writing something out to read to them. All the people saying I'm a pushover are 100% correct, lol, but I'm going to try not to when I talk to them. And we have an update of him talking to the parents. Think it's gonna go okay?
I think it will.
I think everyone will be sad.
Yeah, I see myself in OP in a way. The people pleasing part of me,
Yeah.
I totally see that. I've learned to let myself get angry.
Yeah.
You know, I think like it's probably the kind of thing where it's like, you know, you do understand the situation and you know it's no one's fault, but you're still mad about it. And because you know it's no one's fault, you feel like you can't be mad at them. But let yourself be a little upset.
Yeah.
Take some time away from these people. Come back to it when you're a little more settled.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
But I think
I'm
it's,
also
yeah.
having
Sorry.
a hard time that you have like 2 cabinets full of rocks and you found them and you don't ask, oh, what should we do with them? Just sell them? You just get rid of them?
Yeah, because I guess.
How did the parents not know that he had a collection of this stuff?
Well, he did.
But why do they still let go of it?
Do we know OP's gender?
I'm saying, I think Mel.
Okay. OP was saying that they were moving away to college and that the brother could have like whatever he wanted.
The brother was looking after the rock collections for him.
Yes. That's what OP was hoping for. I think the misunderstanding, OP was saying that the family thought that since the brother could have whatever he wanted and OP wasn't taking all the rocks with him, then they assumed that he was just getting rid of all of them and seeing what the brother wanted first.
OP gave the rocks to the brother to look after, and then for some reason the brother was like, you can sell everything. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be mad at the brother. Easy peasy.
Yep.
There's your person to be mad
It's just
at.
one of those things.
Yeah.
That's what your dad says.
It's one of those things. Yeah, you're right.
Here's the update. I just talked with my parents, and I used kind of a long speech that included some specific memories I had connected to the rocks and asked to be compensated financially for the loss. I was crying the whole time, so I'm not sure how much of it they understood. Surprisingly, they are completely willing to pay me back for it, and my parents were both completely sorry and admitted it was their faults. Wow.
Aw, that's so good.
That is crazy. I didn't know like parents could have some sense in this on this platform.
Right?
They told me that they were surprised that I didn't want the rocks, but at the same time, I was giving away other sentimental things like stuffed animals that they thought that I would have kept. Because of this, they didn't think to call me to confirm since the times they had with other things I had agreed. They said they are going to get everything back from my aunt and brother. My mom has already rounded up what she took, and they want to take me rock shopping the rest of the weekend I have with them together.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's super sweet.
Wow.
Get you some rocks to take to college.
That's really, really
That's
sweet.
cute. Maybe there's going to be a geologist one day.
Maybe.
This has been such a chaotic day for me, and I have never expected so many people to reach out. For those suggesting it, I am looking into therapy.
Good.
Because of rocks.
I feel like that's okay. Because of your
You're off
attachment.
your rocker, OP. I think that my issues with confrontation and social pressure in general warrant some professional help.
Yep.
My dad actually notes that he was proud of me for bringing it up to them the way I did.
Aw.
I'm going to be a combination of mad and sad for a while, but now it isn't stuck inside of me. Thank you for everyone for pushing me to talk to them up front. I probably wouldn't have done it without your help. Some relevant comments. Trey Botch says, they stole from you, then sold these stolen goods. They have given you the proceeds of the sale. I'd say in your opinion of them not bad people is wildly incorrect. Only bad people steal from their child. This person, oh man.
This person has been on Reddit for a while.
This person is hurt. This person needs therapy too. One more comment. Black Stars Blue says you should blame them. They don't have phones and FaceTime. Nobody called you to ask anything. Your family is incredibly inconsiderate, and I'm sorry your collection was destroyed. OP says this is honestly the part that hurts me the most to me. It would have taken like 2 minutes to call me, and my parents have taken me to go buy rocks countless times, so I don't understand why they didn't think to second check. Sad face emoji. OP, my parents thought I was giving them away, so they weren't trying to steal from me. It really doesn't change how hurt I am, but it makes me feel bad to have them for it. I'm starting to feel like I'm underreacting, but I'm really conflicted since they provided for me and everything, which I know doesn't justify anything, but still. Bubblegum Crash says it's okay to be mad and sad. Have you had a conversation with your brother to let him know that you meant for him to look after them / enjoy them, not that they were his to give away? Let him know you're sorry you weren't more clear that that was the case, but that you're upset about it and that it's going to take some time for you to get over. Your parents too. I know that in the scheme of things, it's rocks. I had a lot of memory in my collection. I am just going to be a little sad and a little mad that they're gone. I know it's not anyone's fault and I'm not blaming anyone. When it's not so raw, maybe see if your family will be willing to go with you to get a few new rocks that are tied to new memories. Or let friends know you're rebuilding your collection slowly so you can keep them with you. OP, thank you for your reply, for understanding. They really aren't evil people and you're correct that it's a misunderstanding. Some parts my fault, some parts theirs. I'm going to use your response when I talk to them. I struggle with confrontation, so if I don't have a plan, I probably won't be clear. And you can be clear as day with us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
And we have one more Relic comment. This is sweet. I love this.
This is sweet. I think some people on Reddit are expecting Reddit type stories.
Yeah.
Where the worst happens. But I think this is a really sweet story.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as Angie Dad says, at least we know they're rockers.
That's funny.
That's
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
It seems like all of that stuff was kind of addressed and resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything's good now. You got new rocks happening.
Yeah.
They're going to find more rocks.
That's so nice.
Hopefully we get a rocking update one day.
Yeah, yeah.
I made my wife think our son was missing, but now I think I went too far.
Possibly.
My wife has a horrible habit that I discovered 2 months ago. We were ordering lunch on the Subway on the sandwich app, and I told her to pick the location that has a drive-thru. That way we don't have to go inside and take the baby out of the car just to clip him back in a few minutes later. She told me it's not a big deal to leave the baby in the car, to run in and pick it up really fast.
Oh my God, she left a baby in the car?
I had no idea that she ever did this. I told her I was not comfortable with her leaving him in the car alone, even for a minute. And she told me she's been doing it since he was born. She told me that she does it to pick up food, run into the post office or pharmacy, etc. I was floored. We don't live in a horrible area, but it's also not super safe either. I told her to not ever do this again. And by the way, this story comes from Limpa Kinza on the r/mi, the a-hole subreddit. She told me that she never stopped to think about the potential dangers and that she would stop doing it. Well, yesterday, as I was driving home from my brother's house, I spotted her car at the gas station near our place. It was parked in a spot up front and not a pump, so I figured she stopped in to grab some snacks, which we like to do. I decided to stop and go in and say hi and get some food, and I pulled in and parked next to her. However, when I got there, I was furious to find our son in his car seat. The car wasn't even locked. I don't know what came over me, but in that moment, I decided to take my son and put him into my car, which he's got a car seat in there too. I then drove to the other side of the gas station parking lot and waited for my wife to come out. It took 6 minutes for her to appear. When she saw that he was gone, she looked stunned for a second and then started to frantically look around and cry. I didn't let it go on long. After this, I saw her pull her phone out, presumably to call 911, and that's when I pulled my car around to her. I parked, got out, and walked around to my son's door and opened it to show her. She looked extremely relieved, but that quickly turned into anger with her asking me why I took him and did that to her. I told her she needed to learn her lesson, yes, and she promised to stop leaving him in the car, and that she was extremely irresponsible. It it was so easy for me to pull up and take him. No one else at that gas station even noticed. If he was really taken, there would have been no help and it would have been 100% her fault. She proceeded to call me cruel and psychotic and tried taking our son out of my car and into hers. I said no, and that I would be driving him home, and I left. She came home not much later, but ignored me the rest of the day. She acknowledged me today, saying she wanted an apology, and I said absolutely not. And she's the one who should be saying sorry. She's been guilt-tripping me the rest of the day, saying no mother should experience the fear that I put her through. Did I go too far? Am I the a-hole?
You talked to her before.
You stopped at the exact moment where it would have now gone over a line.
Also, the fact that she said no mother should have to experience that, she wouldn't have experienced it if she hadn't left her child alone, unlocked in a car.
You're right. No mother should have to experience this thing you
so make sure it doesn't happen.
did to yourself. Actually, that you did to our kid.
Crazy.
User Anarchia says, normally I'm fully against game playing, which so am I, but this is your child's life. I support your actions. So do I. Your wife is being hugely neglectful, not to mention it'll be warm soon, and being left in a hot car, even for a few minutes, can be deadly. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't let her take him anywhere until she apologizes. OP responds, I guess I should clarify that the car was running with the air on. It's actually not that much better because the car's running. Someone could just drive your whole car away with your kid in it.
The car was running. That means the keys were in.
I forgot to add that detail and was restricted by the character limit, but the car was on. It's a push-to-start car with a sensor for the key fob, so it'll stay on or running as long as you're close enough to the vehicle. Didn't see the keys in the car, so she took them inside with her, but that didn't lock it. User You're Smarter Than I Look says, look, OP, let's be honest about the reality of this situation. Your wife has knowingly and intentionally left your infant alone in a vehicle multiple times. At least once the vehicle was unlocked. I'm honestly shocked no one has called the cops for child endangerment yet, but eventually somebody probably will. When that happens, CPS will probably get involved. You now have documented on the internet that you knew this was happening. If CPS finds out that you knew and continued letting your wife leave the baby alone in the car, you will both lose custody of the baby. Not the a-hole for scaring her, but that was appropriate and infant safe way to demonstrate the potential consequences of your wife's actions to her in a hopefully meaningful way. But you will be the a-hole if you continue to let this happen. If your wife's attitude about the safety of your child doesn't improve, it doesn't really seem like your wife can be trusted to transport the baby right now. It might be time to involve some professional help for her if you want to keep your family intact, or it might be time to document what she's doing, take your child, and leave her if you're done with risking it.
Either if you want to stay with her, then she can't have access to your child right now alone.
Yeah,
like you just, which is like sucks for you because it's putting a lot of pressure and responsibility on you.
Yeah.
But right now she can't be trusted.
Absolutely not. I've seen several comments like this, so I just want to make it clear that I have absolutely no intention of letting this continue. My son's safety is my top priority and means everything to me. And by the way, it would mean everything to us if you could join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Everything I think that OP has done has been textbook perfect.
Yes.
Although normally, like, this has been quite the 180. From the title, I was like, this guy's definitely going to be in the wrong.
There's no way he can't be in the wrong, or can't not be in the wrong.
Yeah, you can't be.
Can't be leaving your kid in a
She
car.
said she'd stopped. He said okay. Finds out she has not stopped.
Yeah.
Takes it into his own hands.
Yeah.
And I think
it's fair.
Everything that's been done has been done perfectly. I hope that they stay together.
Yeah.
And work through whatever this is.
I hope she needs help.
There's something going on in her head for sure. I sat my wife down this morning and did apologize for the way I went about things, but said I was not sorry for caring about our son's safety, and in the moment felt like she needed a huge wake-up call. She apologized for lying and continuing to do this unsafe practice. I asked her why she seemed so casual about what she's doing. Most parents I know, myself included, are on the paranoid side when it comes to their kids, and she's been doing this for so long without seeing an issue. I asked if she thinks she's dealing with some kind of postpartum mental health issue, as I don't consider this normal, and she broke down crying, saying she doesn't know what's wrong with her. She has agreed to seek counseling, and until there is a major change or improvement, I will be running all errands with my son, or we will be doing them together. But I told her I cannot trust her anymore to take him places by herself, and that is the end of that story.
Good. Yeah. No, I think that's how it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's at least acknowledged now that something's wrong.
She's got to fix that. Figure it out.
There's no universe. Like, every person's gut instinct should tell you, I shouldn't leave my newborn child alone in the car unlocked.
Exactly.
That's correct. Like, I don't even leave my laptop alone in a car unlocked.
Exactly.
And my laptop doesn't have a pulse or my genetics.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah,
I really hope that she's worked through it.
Me
Dang.
too. Lori, thank you for the $5. Do not leave kids in the car. I don't even leave my kids in the car, no matter how fast I'm going to be. Agreed.
Fully agreed.
My wife has been playing favorites with our kids. How do I fix this? And this is all answering the question, is favoritism expected between a parent and their children? The second story comes from Tef Measurements 345, and they say, my wife has always been the one to cook around the house, and as an Italian, it's one of the reasons I fell so hard for her. I've offered to help out in the kitchen or even cook a few times, but she's always firmly yet politely told me no, and I can't really blame her because I did not get either of my parents good cooking genes. Because of this, I've always been sure to thank her for every meal, and I've taught my children to do the same. For the past year or so, my son has been watching a ton of cooking videos on YouTube and TikTok, and he's really been wanting to try his hand at cooking. My wife was happy to teach him, and at least twice a week, the two of them will go out to the store, buy ingredients for a meal he found on TikTok, and come home and make it. It's been awesome seeing them bond more since they haven't really had much overlap in interest before this. Well, about a month ago after dinner, my son asked his mom if he could try making us all a meal on his own. I said it sounded like a great idea, and she hemmed and hawed for a little while before agreeing. So that Saturday, she took him to the store to get his ingredients. Then he got to work. She supervised here and there, but he insisted that she didn't need to. So eventually she came to the living room and sat with my daughter and I looking a little bit dejected. So I assured her that I was sure he'll still want to cook with her. He just wanted to try it out on his own. That seemed to help a little, but she still seemed a bit off. When he finished and we all sat down to eat, I was honestly surprised at just how good he managed to do on his own. I feel bad for saying it, but even after a year or so of cooking with his mother, I expected him to mess up more than he did. I wanted to encourage this interest of his, so I was sure to let him know while I was eating how good he did and gently bring up a few mistakes he had made. I did a lot more than I usually would with my wife's cooking, and in hindsight, I can see that that's what started all of this. His sister, being his little sister, was not as supportive as I was and quite rudely insulted his cooking.
Aww.
I was going to tell her to mind her manners and be thankful that he cooked for us when my wife made a sound and pushed her plate away before agreeing and saying that it was too salty and overcooked.
Why would you ever say that to your child who is, even if it was salty and overcooked, why would you ever say that to a kid?
Also, push it away.
Yeah. Someone who's spent their first time doing it alone, and you push it away and you insult it.
Yeah, and
that makes me feel so sad.
Also, to be clear of the ages, so my 38 male, a stay-at-home wife, 40 female, has been treating our son, 12 male, poorly and favoring our daughter, 9 female.
This is a 12-year-old.
Ever since I complimented his cooking. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think you can give feedback uncruelly.
Absolutely.
And the mom is giving it cruelly.
Yeah, you can be like, great job on your first try. Let's keep working at this.
This took me aback, and I could tell my son took it hard too, and his mood visibly dropped. I didn't say anything at the time, and since my wife and I never argued in front of the kids, I just kept up the praise of my son's cooking, and his mother picked up the plate for a little while before she took her and her daughter's plates to the kitchen. A little while later, I went to check on my son, and I could tell that he had been crying, so I comforted him. I told him I was sure his mother loved the food and that she was probably just having a bad day and to not take it personally. Then later, once the kids were asleep, I confronted her about it, and she tried to just brush it off, but I pushed and she got mad and said that I complimented his cooking far more than I ever complimented hers.
Okay, you're not a 12-year-old.
Yeah, but Shabang Bang says jealousy is real in all ages. So
she's very jealous.
She's very jealous. She's very jealous.
Yeah.
So this caught me off guard since I didn't expect my wife to be jealous of her son, and I unfortunately let out an involuntary scoff at this. She blew up at me for laughing, and we ended up arguing for a while before eventually I managed to explain that I was complimenting him so much because I wanted to encourage him to keep cooking. And she even admitted that she shouldn't have been so harsh about it. She said she would apologize, and I figured everything was settled.
Oh no.
But is it settled?
Oh no.
Is it settled? I don't think so. This Monday when I was driving my son to school, I noticed he wasn't acting normal and looking out the window trying to hide his face from me. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me he was fine. But I could tell he was fighting back tears, so I asked him again, and he broke down and told me that after I had left to get the car started, she told him that she was going to be cooking alone again from now on.
I hate this woman.
I have a conspiracy theory. She's a stay-at-home mom whose husband fell for her because of her cooking. So literally like her entire identity, both as a like provider in the relationship and to the kid, and also just like in terms of love, it's all coming from cooking.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, this thing that was my connection to my husband is being taken from my son, which is like totally like, it's not the right way to think about this at all. But I think that's probably what she's feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I think also, especially, it was kind of telling for me when OP said that she wouldn't let him in the kitchen to help. Because I think even if you're not a good cook, I think that there still should be an emphasis put on like learning.
She's trying to gatekeep cooking.
Yeah, she's like, no, this is my domain and I'm gonna, have complete control over it. And anyone who like encroaches on it is a enemy. Even her own son.
Even her own son.
Yeah.
So she told me that she was going to be cooking alone again from now on. I was furious about this, but kept my cool and told him I would talk to her about it, bought him a snack from the store before dropping him off at school. I left work early so I could get home before the kids and talk to my wife. I'll admit, I didn't handle it as well as I could have, and we ended up in a shouting match where I was calling her childish for being so vindictive towards our son because she was upset with me, and she called him a baby and said he shouldn't be so sad about not being allowed to cook since it wasn't a man's job to do so anyway.
I don't understand this. You're gonna tell me you're gonna go up to Gordon Ramsay? You're gonna go up to Gordon Ramsay and say that he's not a manly man?
I think also this is just an important reminder: women can be misogynists too.
Oh well, yeah, it's internalized misogyny. She has this idea that only women should be in the kitchen, and so she's enforcing that upon herself.
I think we got a little stinky woman action over here.
Very stinky.
A little stinky woman. I also like this man is the complete opposite of the last story, but the woman is the complete embodiment of those values.
Yes. Yeah, you're gonna tell me that you're gonna go up to Carmi from The Bear, tell him he's not a manly man?
Bro, have you seen that Calvin Klein thing?
That's a manly man.
That's a manly man.
That's a manly man.
That is a manly man who cooks some manly man food. So we ended up leaving each other alone to cook. Oh, let him cook. We ended up leaving each other alone to let him cook.
Let him cook.
We ended up leaving each other alone to cool down. And when our kids got home, my wife took our daughter out and came back later with a load of toys and clothes for her. She's literally doubling down.
Yeah.
She's doubling down on this like kid favoritism.
Yeah, she's rewarding her daughter for going with what she like with her ideas of what a.
Well, she's basically punishing the son for crying by rewarding the daughter for not.
Yes. Yeah.
I knew immediately what she was trying to do. And that night, I told her that I would not let her use the money I make for our family to punish my son, which I don't know if you could say either, but you could say like you should not use our family's money to punish our son.
For doing a nice thing.
He literally is cooking for the family.
For you. I don't understand. And also a lot of people are saying
divorce. Yeah, is this chat. Is this a divorce-worthy offense? Divorce or not? Put your answers. I feel like she's escalating. So there may be a point where it becomes divorce-worthy. I don't know if it's there yet, but
yeah. But I think if it continues down this path, it is a complete. They just have completely different ideas of how parenting.
Yeah. The F, yeah.
Exactly. It's like in Aristocats when the little girl cat she gets in fights with her brothers and Duchess the mom she's like, ladies don't start fights, and the little girl cat's like, I don't start fights, but I finish them.
Yeah. So she didn't take this well, and we ended up arguing again. I slept in the guest room and have been up to this point. For this past month, my wife has kept up this vindictive showering of our daughter with attention and gifts while almost entirely ignoring my son. I've been talking to my parents and brother about this, and while they agree she's wrong, they also don't see it as that big of a problem and think it'll sort itself out. At this point, with how she's been treating our son, I'm starting to fall out of love with her.
I mean, a month of treatment
Yeah, this isn't just like a slip up.
No,
like,
this is
last story, slip up. Guy
Slip
was
up
like, oh,
5 hours later.
5 hours later was like, oh crap, I can't believe what I've done.
Completely reworked his like ideas about gender.
This person, yeah, exactly. Like 5 hours later, misogyny. Who? That was me 5 hours in the past.
The patriarchy is actually behind all of the world's problems.
Yeah, but I feel like in the last story, it's like, oh, I realize I'm wrong. But what he didn't say like I'm absolved. He said, oh, I realize I'm wrong. I now have work to do.
Yeah.
Which is like the best thing to do. It's like, wow, I'm wrong. Perspective change. Now let's work on actually
fixing my relationship with my kids. Yeah.
But this person,
she's doubling down.
doubling down on all the worst things that she could do. But I also don't want to jump to divorce if there's something that I can do to fix this whole situation. I can honestly say that we've never had a fight this big. Sure, we bicker every now and then, but she's never taken that out on my son in the past. I feel responsible and guilty about what happened, and I've been trying to do nice things for my son when I can, but I also don't want to mirror my wife's behavior, so I've been taking my daughter with us about half the time to go to the places, but whenever we do, she's been very rude and always talks about all the stuff her mother does for her lately because she knows it bothers her brother, which is like basically the daughter has already had these predilections to be mean to her brother. And instead of the parents shutting that down and saying, no, you should not be
she's
rude,
rewarding it.
She is rewarding it. Exactly. Seeing the way my wife has been treating our son has made me second guess our marriage, but I don't want to jump straight to divorce either. Any advice on what to do or how to best bring up the topic of therapy would be appreciated. There are some relevant comments and a fat, juicy, thick update. But yeah, what do you think OP should do? So OP does not want a divorce, although 80% of you say it is divorce worthy.
I think it is divorce
in the chat. I think after a month.
I think after a month that gets into divorce.
And you know what you could even do? It's like, hey, maybe this is the start of divorce territory where
separation.
It's like, hey, I am say what you're saying here. I am falling out of love with you because of how you're treating your son. If this keeps happening, I feel like I don't know if I can be with you anymore.
I don't know if I can continue this marriage, and I don't know if I feel comfortable having you take care of our kid.
And I want to work on this. Let's go to therapy. Yeah. Let's figure something out. But yeah, I mean, it is getting pretty bad.
Yeah.
But there could also be like this fear of, okay, if when OP brought it to
his family,
when OP brought it to his wife the first time, she doubled down on the treatment. Does she triple down now that she feels like her marriage is falling apart?
Maybe. I think there's that fear. I think I was also going to say there's a fear of he had already talked to his other family members and they had said, oh, it's not a big deal. So I think there might be a doubting it.
Yeah, but I think the relevant comments should help him figure it out. So relevant comments: OP on having conversations with his wife about their son's feelings and OP's concerns on her behavior. OP responds, thank you very much. I've tried with her about the whole situation multiple times, but she's very quick to dismiss me and my concerns. So hopefully using some of these ideas you've given me can help. Quite frankly, the whole cooking is a woman's job thing really blew my mind, since she's never said anything like that before and even used to fight with her mother about those kinds of comments when mother-in-law would make them about our daughter and nieces. I'm unsure if she genuinely feels that way or is just pulling stuff out of the air in the heat of the moment.
Conspiracy theory, what if the mother-in-law is like putting these things into her mind?
I mean, through raising her or now?
Now. Because if
I don't think so, because I feel like the reaction was so instant.
Yeah.
When
I still think she's the a-hole regardless, to be clear.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if maybe she's listening to her mother.
Definitely, maybe a lot of her feelings are backed up
by her mother.
Yeah. If she's having these feelings.
Yeah.
But updates. This is June 13th, 2024, so not that long ago. Obligatory but genuine. Thank you all for the support, even the comments that got a bit nasty. That kind of pushback helped me to realize and see things were a lot worse than I realized. Some of you could do with being a bit nicer, but the advice is appreciated all the same. Short recap. My wife and son cooked dinner together most nights for about a year. My son wanted to try cooking dinner on his own, which my wife accepted, but started acting funny. She ended up rudely criticizing his meal. Then the next day, she told him that she would do the cooking on her own from then on. And after I confronted her about this, she started neglecting / emotionally abusing him while shoveling positivity on our daughter. Well, the first thing I did after making my previous post was take my son to my parents' house to tell them what was happening from his mouth. I figured they may be more receptive to seeing the pain their grandson was going through and not just write it off like they had with me. They ended up being understanding and supportive of my next move, which was kicking my wife out till she worked through whatever problem she was going through. Can he just do that?
Do what?
Just kick her out of the house?
I don't know.
Because it's like, if they're married, it's her house too, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's a good idea, but
Yeah.
I'm curious how he got her to agree with that.
Well, maybe he was like, get out of my house.
Maybe. I don't know. That doesn't seem like OP though, based
No,
on
it doesn't.
what we know.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Anyway, next I went to a lawyer and consulted with him. He told me it would be best to have the papers ready to go, even if I wasn't sure I wanted a divorce yet, because it's better to get it done as quick as possible if I decided to go through with it, because in Canada, you have to separate for a year or prove abuse or adultery
Oh, to divorce?
to divorce.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think we read about that in I've heard about that from Canada in a previous story.
That feels strange to
Well, I feel like it could make it's like prove that you want to divorce for
But
maybe it like prevents like a divorce annulments or something.
I don't know. I feel like if you want to spend the money on the divorce,
Do it.
do it.
Yeah. Well, I took the kids to my folks' house the next Saturday and came back with my mother. I let her talk with my wife first. Then, when they were done, I told her that I needed to leave the house until she sorted out whatever was causing her to act this way to our son. She surprisingly agreed to this. I'm guessing hearing things from my mother knocked some sense into her, as they were always quite close. I told her that my parents were willing to let her stay there during the time because her parents lived too far away, or I could put her up in a nearby motel. I would also pay for her to see a therapist every week, which I told her was mandatory for fixing things. Our kids spent the night with my parents and we moved her out the next day. We both sat with the kids and told them what was happening. Our son understood, but our daughter didn't and was quite upset, but eventually we calmed her down. Things went well for the first month or so. She went to all the weekly appointments and I met her for dinner a few nights a week with the kids, and she seemed to be treating our son properly again. I was really hopeful that she had been making progress. I see you if you see where this is going.
Oh, no.
Then, the Friday after her 5th therapy appointment, she sent me a wall of text messages about how I was the a-hole and I was trying to steal her children from her, and how I was probably effing someone on the side. I tried calling her to see what she was talking about, but I think she shut her phone off. I called my mother and she told me that my wife had left the house earlier that day with all her stuff without saying anything to my mom.
What is going on?
I'm not 100% sure what happened next, since my wife has refused to tell me most details and I can't get in contact with the friends she was with. The best I can piece together was that she had told her best friend about what was happening, and that my friend started telling her all about how I was just trying to kick her out and steal her kids. She then moved in with her friend and went on a week-long bender of clubbing, drinking, and substances. When we were younger, we did our fair share of stupid crap together, so while this was surprising, it was most likely her dumb friends convincing her to relive the glory days. And she probably, I'm guessing she cheated. Kimberly Fine says, fish market, and the wife isn't a sushi chef. Yeah, she's stinky. She's stinky. I hadn't heard anything from her for about a week. Then I got a text from her friend telling me I was a loser, that my wife was too good for me, and that she was effing a younger guy.
Whoa. What?
It's called it.
This wife literally just had like a breakdown, because what just happened? How did we
I
get
tried to demand she give my wife the phone so I could talk with her, but I never got a reply. I screenshotted the text for evidence if I needed it. I ended up getting a call from the hospital at like 3 a.m. that Sunday. My wife had OD'd on something and was dropped off at the ER by someone who didn't stick around. Since I was her emergency contact, they reached out to me. I called my mom to come watch the kids and headed over there. They managed to get her stabilized and were treating her. I stuck around for a few hours and she was in and out of consciousness. And when she wasn't very talkative. When she properly woke up, she started apologizing for everything. And that's when I found out the few details I know about her friend and the bender. I asked her if she had been effing someone else like her friend said, and she didn't reply, which was much of an answer as I needed. She kept trying to apologize, and I just kept my cool and told her this wasn't the time or the place for this. Oh man, we are circling the end of this story right now. John is coming in for the finale, but John, it is
OP's the a-hole.
It is.
OP is in fact not the
OP is
I
not
disagree.
the a-hole.
I totally disagree.
So you're getting in on a dark section.
Yeah.
You're getting in on a dark section.
Oh.
But basically, TLDR for John. So OP and his wife are 40s. OP's wife is a stay-at-home mom. OP fell in love with her because of her cooking, and she's like a really good cook. That's kind of like where she senses a lot of identity.
Right.
Her 12-year-old son started showing an interest in cooking, and they cooked together every night for a year. And then her son was like, I would like to cook dinner alone today. And she was like, okay. And then she started to get super jealous of the son because he wanted to cook more alone, and started being actively an a-hole to the son, like saying really mean things about the cooking. And then OP's wife.
Right.
OP's wife was actively saying like really mean things about the cooking. And then the daughter was being mean to OP's son as well. And the wife encouraged the daughter and then spoiled her with like toys and stuff. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. Then OP's like, hey, I'm falling out of love with you. If you don't fix this, our marriage is going to be over.
Yeah.
And said like, hey, you go away while you work on it. Then she went to a friend's, went to a bender, probably cheated on him, and just OD'd, ended up in the hospital. And OP was her emergency contact.
And that's how he finds out.
That's how he finds out that she knew apparently her friend had said something earlier. And it was like, hey, your wife is effing a much younger guy. She doesn't need you. Which, terrible friend. But
you weren't lying. Okay, please.
Yeah.
Yes, tell me. Read me.
So we ended up leaving at about 8 a.m. the next day. I got her back to my parents' place, got her into bed, and just before I left, I put the papers on the table beside the bed and told her that I expected her to sign them within the week, and that I had proof she cheated on me during her bender. I had told my parents I was planning on doing this on the phone, so I wasn't just dumping this drama on them without warning. The kids are both doing fine. They don't know anything of what happened with their mother or the divorce. All they know is that my wife is still moved out and that she's busy getting better, so we're not going to see her as much. I'll probably tell them in a couple of weeks whenever school lets out for the summer, so it doesn't affect their learning. Over the next couple of weeks, I've gotten countless calls from her, ranging from begging for a second chance, screaming at me that she hated me and she was going to make my life hell, going back and forth every other day. I've also been getting vitriolic texts from her family and friends calling me all sorts of names and threatening that if I don't drop the divorce, I'll regret it, all of which have been screenshotted, which probably contributes to the abuse clause of the divorce thing, because in Canada, you have to be separated for a year before getting divorced unless you can prove abuse or infidelity. And OP kind of has both.
Right.
The full package.
He's like, great.
My parents agree that divorce is the best, but they're questioning my timing and wondering if I should have picked a better time to do this than when she is fresh out of the hospital. I'm 100% sure I want her out of my life, and I plan on going for full custody of my children, as I don't want them around my wife if this behavior is what she's willing to stoop to. And while I do want it to be done as soon as possible, I'm wondering if I should take back the papers and tell her I've changed my mind, at least until she's a bit more stable. Edit, I saw comments suggesting I take my kids to therapy to explain the situation to them. I have a session set up with a therapist in a week. Just wanted to wait a tiny bit longer for their school to be finished as soon as possible. I forgot to include it when I first typed it out. An irrelevant comment and a response from OP to close us out. Miss Turk 2020 says, absolutely do not take back the papers. Your marriage is over, and she killed it. She kept stabbing the marriage until it just died. OP gave her so many chances, and she's like, no, this dies now.
Jeez.
She needs to take accountability for what she did, and you are trying to get her off the hook. In my opinion, I would advise your lawyer what's going on and listen and follow the advice given. You should be filing for full custody, in my opinion. You can always loosen restrictions later. And I think that's an important point where it's like, you file for full custody so you can control the situation, especially if your partner is not mentally there.
Especially with kids. Yeah.
And OP responds, yeah, after I served for the papers, I got in contact with him again and have been telling him everything that has been happening. He has every screenshot I've collected so far, and I'm filling him in on any updates. I appreciate the advice, Bill. And that is where this story ends.
As Brittany John said in the chat, OP hit the Canadian divorce lottery.
Yeah. I am sorry you had to hit that lottery, but at least the divorce will be expedited.
Bing, 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 bing.
Bing, 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 bing. OP, you're really winning.
Yeah.
Wow. I do think where OP is winning is Father Award, because I think OP is really doing everything right in a extremely terrible situation.
Yeah.
Like, this is about as bad as it could be. And OP's making all the right moves. So shout out to him for doing that.
You know, when you're a great person in the worst of circumstances, that says a lot to one's character.
I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, that's where the story ends. I think, again, we go back to this question, should it be expected that parents have favorites in their children? And I think we get back to this point of like, it may be natural to be gravitating to one kid or another. But if that ever comes out, obviously, in your actions, you need to do everything you can to scale that back and make sure that your children never feel like there's a favorite, because that's so damaging to self-esteem.
Super damaging.
Yeah.
I think treating kids like equitably, where like maybe one has, I don't know if they mentioned this, like an interest that you share. It's like, oh, hey, I'll do this. And I might have to be very mindful for the other kid that I might not have as much in common with. And maybe almost try a little bit more just because you lack that point of connection.
That's exactly what the last story was about. Yeah.
But and Josephine Madola Burquest, thanks for the 27 sec. All of this because her son likes cooking. Literally, she had a mental breakdown because her son likes cooking.
Get her out of my face.
If that isn't a misogynist, I don't know what is. But
ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the
Amen,
truth,
brother?
Well, I think that's where that ends. I just outed my ex-husband as gay to his homophobic mother because she wouldn't leave me alone. Am I the asshole? It's a long and sucky story, but my 25 female, soon-to-be ex-28 male, is gay and hid that from me. Rough. I found out because I caught him cheating, and he as much as admitted that he knew he wasn't attracted to me that way, but he wanted kids and a quote-unquote normal life. I don't care that he's gay, but I will never forgive him for leading me on so he could use me to have kids. The problem is that his family are fundamentalist nut jobs, except for a few members, and his mother is the interfering mother-in-law from hell.
This is just too classic.
His family doesn't believe in divorce, so under the guise of picking up some paperwork and other items, I had found that were my exes, she cornered me about how I'm being childish and marriage is about commitment, forgiveness, and working through problems. Honey, I don't know about this problem. This is a problem that sticks.
Yeah, it's really sticky.
It's a problem that's him sticking it to other hymns.
Exactly.
It became apparent that my ex didn't tell his family that he cheated. He told his mom that I was divorcing him because we weren't having sex often enough for me. Dick.
Literally, actually.
Yeah.
2 dicks worth.
I tried to be patient and explained that he had cheated and that's why. I wasn't going to go into greater detail because I know how his parents are and it's none of their business, which honestly, really nice of OP.
Totally fair.
Mother-in-law's advice, I kid you not, was that men are just that way. And if I wanted to have sex more and for him not to stray, I should have made myself more attractive to my husband and be a better wife. She's asking for the truth. She's asking for the truth. She don't want to hear.
You can't handle the truth.
I lost the plot completely. It had been a sad and hard day already, and that was the final straw. Here's where I may have been the asshole. I told her that the only thing that would make me more attractive to my ex would be a sex change. And that I hoped he and his boyfriend adopted her grandchild so she could finally shut the hell up about it. Not my finest moment, but she just hit the worst and rawest nerve that she could have, and
Everybody loses here.
It's evidently turned into a huge family drama. He's probably going to be disowned. Oh, fuck. And my ex called sobbing that I've ruined his life out of spite. I don't really know how to feel about it. I do feel bad for him that his parents are such awful people and there were just no good outcomes for him. But I also feel like he made his own bed here too. And there is an update. But what do you think?
Wow.
Do you think OP made an a-hole move by revealing the truth?
So I want to hear what everyone else thinks. I think this is a very difficult one, honestly. But I think that it was an a-hole move. But the thing is, like, I feel like his like a-hole meter pumped up so much, and he put so much on the wife who had the intention of not revealing that he was gay, right?
Exactly. And he took no responsibility. Not only did he not come out to his family, which understandable why he didn't.
Yes.
But he said that
it was basically
he didn't say
the
that
wife's,
he cheated.
He said it was basically the wife's fault.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the update. So I finally gotten radio silence from my ex's immediate family after the incident with the mother-in-law, so there's a relief. I work at the same place with a couple of his extended family members, so I still have to see them, but they haven't brought it up. They all know to contact me through my lawyer now, and everything big that belongs to my ex has been passed on already. So anything else can be forwarded through the legal office now. I shouldn't have had to interact with them, but it's hard to avoid people forever in a small town. Small town life, dude.
Small town, and she works with the family? That sucks.
Yeah. My ex tried to break into the house the day that I posted the story while I was at work, and I pressed charges. I don't know how that's going to shake out or why he's doing this when it can only get him in worse trouble, but I'm letting my lawyer and the police handle it, and I'm staying with my parents for a little while until I feel safer. Damn, OP, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
It sucks. I don't know what's happened between him and his family, and I don't want to try and find out. My ex and I guess his family before the fight with mother-in-law spread rumors about me, and it's made living here very hard. Damn. It's a smallish community, and people treat me differently now. The local stake president, who's like a guy that is a volunteer for like the leader of churches or whatever, has been kind, and after being told about the cheating, no mention of orientation, said he would try to help with the rumors. I don't want to leave the area, but I'm thinking that I may need to, at least for a while after the legal stuff is over. My lawyer and I have decided to go for annulment, since that will take less time and be harder to fight in this case. Hopefully the ex won't contest it. I'm glad that we never combined finances. There won't be too many joint assets to sort out. I will be okay financially still. This could have been much worse if I was a stay-at-home mom or something. I'm going to start therapy soon. I was thinking about it anyway, even before this all came out, because I've been feeling depressed over how things were working in my marriage for a while. I don't want to lose any more of myself and my time than I already have. And I hope one day I'll feel good enough to start dating again. Right now, I don't know. Even thinking about it hurts.
My goodness.
So, Johnny boy, Johnny Bahama.
Sammy.
What do you think OP should do? Is she kind of trucking forward in the right way? Is going no contact with the family and the ex the right thing to do here? What would you guys do? Would you go no contact with the family and the ex? Put your answers in the comments immediately. But John,
please.
With this update, what are you thinking?
Yeah, and also I would love to see, I know we've actually had some breakup stories from people who watch, like kind of sharing advice. I would love if you guys have any advice on like any sort of like big breakups like this that you've gone through. I think that'd be very helpful for the community. But yeah, I think that OP is doing all the right things in terms of like, all right, let's leave it to the lawyer. If anything happens, call the police. Like literally just basically have the intermediary handle it and not get involved, because like she said, like just dealing with the people directly just gets messy and like all these other things.
And it's emotionally taxing too.
It's emotionally taxing, and like I imagine too, like dealing with it legally, that will help her from accidentally like slipping up and giving them to like something countersue, whatever. I think what OP mentioned in terms of moving to a new hometown is great, because I think about like, okay, what is your overall quality of life? You're going to be stuck with the small town people, all the people rumoring about you, the family, the family you work with. I have to imagine that your quality of life can only improve by
if
moving.
you leave. Yeah, but it's hard to leave, a small town.
It sucks. But
it might be better.
It's kind of like the lesser of two evil type situation.
Yeah. So maybe OP time to go on Zillow, look at some new apartments.
There you go. Maybe come to Bali.
Maybe come to Bali. Bali's cheap, man.
Yeah.
But you know what's never cheap?
Tell me.
The price of this new story.
That's
and
right.
That price is your time, which you will never get back.
No, let's steal it. Let's get into it. I lost $146,000 playing poker, but I think I can win it back. That's always a smart idea. I've been living alone in a new city for a little more than a year. I literally don't know anyone here except for my work folks, who I don't interact with except for work. With not much to do during my downtime, I got into the best hobby you can do: online poker. The best way to spend free time. I have a decent job where I make around $100K a year, and where I stay, this puts me in the top 10% of earners. But over the last 7 months, I've managed to lose $146,000 playing poker.
146.
I primarily played PLO6. I started with buy-ins of $100, but then I soon moved to $500 and then $5,000.
Why were you moving up if you were losing?
Big home go.
Oh my God.
The only path. I was losing often, but only after I would run up insane scores. Similar every other day, I would load up for 5K, run it up to 30K, as in gain 30,000, but then proceed to lose it all. And then buy back 6 more times. Oh my God. I kept it mostly in balance with a couple of big cash outs, getting up from the table with, let's say, a $70,000 profit. Only because everyone else left.
I mean, but that's gambling for you, right? Like sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. You get addicted to the highs.
And you literally can't control. But I was a consistent loser, losing on average 20K to 30K per month.
Dog, what are you doing?
Oh my God. My entire salary would go into this, other than rent or food. The last week or so of every month, I would be counting my dollars to make sure I had enough to make it through. And then it happened.
What? Did he win? Did he win? He won.
I lost my balance completely.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I had a month where I lost over $50,000. I blew through my savings, took an advance from work, and then I blew through that too.
Oh man, I really thought it was going to be a fairy tale ending.
You're just going to come right back up.
No, he got
Our
he got
hero rises
fucked.
from the ashes. Yeah, absolutely not.
Who saw it coming?
Who could have predicted this? As of today, I'm down $146,000 with $12,000 in debt and about $200 to my name to last through the month.
Dude, what are you doing?
I don't have enough for rent this month, and I really don't know how I'm going to figure this out.
All right, can I give you step one? Can I give you step one?
Step one.
Fucking destroy your computer.
Yes.
Destroy it. Delete your fucking poker shit. Block all poker websites. Just don't go online, man.
No, stop. You
Go
have to
on
stop.
a retreat.
Yeah. To Bali.
To Bali.
I am respected at work and seen as someone who is highly logical,
You
analytical.
shouldn't be. You shouldn't be respected anywhere.
Ooh. What they don't know is that I'm also a degenerate gambler. I'm sure I'll get through this. I have to, and I have to rebuild, but I just needed to put this down and share it with someone, even if it is just words in an empty sub. Take care, guys. Loneliness is a hell of a thing.
Oh my God.
Well,
150K.
yeah. I mean, the first thing is like, you have to do whatever you have to do to stop gambling, I feel like, right? Like,
No.
completely cut it.
Or maybe OP's luck is about to turn around. OP, you got 2 options.
Yes.
1, destroy your computer. Lame. I mean, that's like the obvious thing to do. 2, double or nothing, baby. Double or fucking nothing. Take a loan from the mafia. You know, put your kneecaps on the line, put your car on the line. Maybe like steal from your grandma or something, right?
She doesn't need it.
You put in 5K.
Yep.
You could be up 140K by the day's end. Bam, money back. And then why stop there?
And then why stop?
Why stop there? You
And
could
then
be
why
up
stop?
300K. Keep going. Never stop.
In all seriousness, I feel like he should find like a gambling addiction like recovery center or like some sort of program, because
that's where the best gamblers are. You can get tips to
that low-key probably is where the best no, actually this is where the worst are, because they've lost all their money and now they need to stop.
But maybe they have little pieces of information you could take, compile together, create a new strategy.
But like also I feel like that'll solve. I feel like this was just bred out of like loneliness and boredom. Like he literally had nothing to do.
Get a girlfriend, dude.
All this free time. Get a girlfriend.
Get a girlfriend.
We're not looking at our producer Riley.
Oh, speaking of girlfriends, my Australian Bali girlfriend is maybe coming back.
See, remember how sad he was just
I
a
was
few
really
episodes
sad,
ago.
But literally an hour after we recorded, she texted me saying that she had something come up and changed her flights to stay in Bali. Totally not because of me.
Something happened, you know.
Something happened.
We've gambled on this story, but I think we should put it all on the line
For another one?
with the next one.
Let's do it.
My mother is super controlling. She's making my wedding about her.
Hey, it's me, the voice from far away.
You already had your wedding. So I've never made a post and wanted this far away from me in case my family sees it, so it's on a throwaway account. I'm just stressed and need a void to scream into it, so if you decide to read this, please bear with me. This is going to be a scrambled mess of events that will hopefully come off cohesively. By the way, this comes from being in the void. And if you want to share your stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I, 28 female, have had an ongoing issue with my mother, 56, since becoming independent. Before anyone gets concerned, she's not abusive or anything, nor is she a helicopter parent. By all accounts, I know I'm lucky that even with a few major hiccups in our childhood, me and my brothers, 20 and 30, are lucky our parents love and support us like they do, which makes it all the harder in some moments when my mom pushes or oversteps. Some background. Her and my dad, 60, worked for years in well-paying jobs, and my dad was smart with his money, so it kept them in a comfortable middle-class lifestyle. Because of her rough childhood, she tries extra hard to help whenever we're struggling financially. Because of this, I know what this is about to sound like, but I wanted this to be accurate. Problems come when there's big projects or changes. The best example of this in its entirety was my wedding. I had no idea what all goes into one until questions were brought up that I never thought or cared about, but were necessary for paperwork reasons. Bit of advice: unless you're having a backyard wedding or have it all planned down to the exact color and pattern of the napkins that are going to be thrown away at the end of the night, just hire a wedding planner. Both my parents insisted on funding the entire thing, and if there was something I saw that I wanted, there were no arguments. I was too swept up in making arrangements that I forgot that there was a price tag. And when I tried backtracking, Mom assured me that they had it covered. I think maybe they don't have it covered.
It sounds like maybe we're not having it covered.
Throughout all of the wedding, there would come said details that I would ask my mom to go ahead and choose for me, such as specific DJs, florists, stylists, photographers, etc. I didn't have anything like that in mind, and I figured that way she and my father could have better control of the budget. But anytime I asked anyone to give even an opinion, my mother insisted it was my wedding and only I could make those calls. Dad just said he was only writing checks and to just come to him when it came time to pay. And my husband was just as indifferent on the stuff as I was. So I did what I could to pick these things out. But I still had to work full time, and my job is extremely demanding. So a lot of things were chosen by the fact that they were the only people with openings and got booked last minute.
Yeah, it really sounds like we shouldn't have had these people on point for that.
Yeah, it seems like if you're gonna be on point and someone says, "Hey, can I ask your advice?" Give your advice.
Yeah,
that's why they're asking. Don't be like, "Oh no, you'll figure it out." That's so annoying.
Yeah, it feels like you got this one. It's
Yeah.
like, no, wait, but I
I
would like you to have this. Yeah, but I bet you got it.
I hate
You
that.
just tell me where the money goes. You got it. Okay.
Piss me off.
I don't know. Everyone sounds annoying so far.
Now, if this was just left as a matter of your wedding, your decision, then fine. I get it. And if nothing else, it would be easy to navigate. However, the major issues came whenever I chose something my mom didn't agree with. Our first big argument came involving the invitations. I had wanted to skip doing save the dates and figured if we just sent the invites out a year from the set date at the time, then it would work just as well and people could take their time sending RSVPs. I even had my roommate help design the invites to where we just had to get them printed at the office store. Mom stated it just wasn't how it was done, and since I had no interest, she would just get the save the dates in order. I just had to hold off sending the invites. Well, life got busy and she ended up forgetting to get them. No big deal. It was 3 months before the wedding and I could go with my original plan. And since it was so close, I figured I'd just tell people to email/text me their RSVP so that we could get the numbers the venue needed instantly. Mom didn't like that either. Once again, because that's just not what you do. So OP also, one, can't ask her mom questions. And also, every time she tries to do something, her mom's like, no, that's not right.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. That's what she says.
That's
and
what
then
she
you
says.
go, well, how would I do it? She
And
goes,
she's
well, you
like,
got to
"Yeah,
do it
that's
the
a
way
you
you
thing."
do it.
I tried putting my foot down on this one, telling her it's fine and would make our lives easier. Well, lo and behold, I get a call from her saying she was coming back from the office store with custom RSVPs printed and ready. I was annoyed, and I'm not good at hiding when I'm annoyed, so when she asked, I told her so. This jump started my mother's brand of weaponized guilt. Not in a way to guilt me, but in that she just felt so bad she dropped the ball to save the dates, and I just wanted to make it right. But now it was ruined when I was just fixing my mistake, but fine, I'll just throw them away since you hate them so much, kind of way.
I hate that so much.
Yeah.
I hate that a lot.
I relented on the grounds that they were already made anyway, and it's no use leaving them to waste. Next was the bridesmaids' dresses. I never saw the appeal and uniformity with the weddings, and my bridesmaids had different body types and personal styles. I had basically told them that they could wear anything as long as it mostly matched color-wise, dark hunter forest green. And I'd help pay if need be. When Mom heard of this, she tried to convince me against it, saying how I shouldn't be so worried about other people at my wedding day.
I have to be. What do you? Yeah.
It wasn't that I was worried about their opinions. I just didn't care if they matched or not. She kept pushing, and I kept telling her it's fine, which led to her throwing in my face that there should be some uniformity with how much they were spending on the wedding. I was hurt because we had constant talks about how bad I felt that things were getting so expensive between the wedding and between the venue and the wedding dress alone. And every time she said they had it and to stop worrying. Now it just felt like she was saving it for this moment, and I nearly called off the whole thing while we could still get the deposits back and I could pay her back for the dress while me and my husband eloped. A suggestion I wish I took my coworkers' advice on.
Literally every story is like, and we could have eloped, but we didn't, and I wish we had.
Well, don't tell us that.
Every story pretty much is just that.
My husband-to-be talked me down from the ledge in private, reasoning that it would legitimately cause a rift between me and my mother's otherwise stable relationship. We just had to get through this, and the wedding and the whole thing would be over, and we could work towards paying them back if she made a habit of using the money against us when she wanted to get her way. She apologized afterwards for using it against me and legitimately never brought it up again. But it set the tone for the rest of the wedding planning, since I couldn't shake the feeling like that money was now hanging over my head with every decision. I took my bridesmaids to the shop, and they did end up agreeing on a dress they both liked and fit them. So the matter was settled. The big fight we had involved getting a videographer, though this was after months of the previous issues and just became our breaking point. At this point, I don't think either of us remembers whose idea it was to have one in the first place, as we just both kept saying the other insisted on it. As stated previously, a lot of things got booked late, and I couldn't find any available that didn't cost a massive amount of money. I wanted to let the whole thing go, but she pressed on that we will find someone who can do it. After so long and no luck, my roommate said he had a friend who did some video work and would do it for about $100 for the full ceremony and fun reception shots.
That's cheap.
Yeah, that is really cheap for weddings.
She's the guy just like pulls up with an old iPhone.
I brought this up to my mom, who was not happy with the idea and kept questioning the validity of his work, but then turned around and stated that it was my choice, and if that's what I really wanted, then fine. But anytime I brought up what he can offer or what he'd done previously and asked her what she thought, she wanted nothing to do with it and started finding fault with him that she'll point out, but once again telling me it's my decision. Her wishy-washy attitude had me give up on it, but then she fully backtracked and got mad that I backed off because she didn't like the idea, which led to a massive blow-up. The frustration from the previous incidents built up, and I pressed on her how she kept changing her mind on how involved she was with the decisions. Yeah, that seems to be the problem throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like she's like, I want to make the decision. And then she'll go, no, just kidding. It's
That's
your
your
decision.
decision, yeah.
But she'll do it like aggressively or like passive aggressively.
And she'll make you feel bad about it. This is ridiculous. I told her that it seemed it's my wedding until she didn't like something, and she didn't take it well. This fight lasted a couple weeks until her, my dad, my fiance, and I sat down to try and hash out the final details. It was tense, and we both show our anger very visibly, which would set the other off, making the conversation continuously coming back around to the videographer until my fiance snapped and told us to shut up about it and move on. Eventually, she left first, stating she had no more business adding her input and to just hash out the financials with my father. And again, she goes into the guilting.
Yep, just go ahead and hash out the financials. That's all we're good for.
After a few more weeks, we became amicable again and focused on keeping things light with the wedding so close. But there was still tension, and she would get snippy if I stated I didn't like an idea of hers with an angry, fine, whatever, do it your way attitude. The day of was happy, bar for the fact that someone brought the vid and half the guests got sick after, but I could just see it as the day the drama finally ended. That was a year ago, and I'm only bringing it up because now we've been dealing with repairing my kitchen ceiling, and she started doing the same cycle of, we'll do it your way, followed immediately with, but why would you do it this way? Only this time, she and my dad keep sniping at each other. Ming Ming is upset. Due to my dad's age, he can't do a lot of heavy lifting, but he's also the only one who knows what we're supposed to be doing and can only direct while actively working on it. Because of this, he gets frustrated easily and has what we call an effort counter. By the time he said some variation of effort 4 times, we know he's actually done. My mom knows this, has lived with it for 30 years, and yet for some reason, she's completely forgotten how to handle it. So anytime my dad utters the first effort, she gets upset and tries to drag him back before he figures out what to do. This in turn pisses my father off, so he starts telling her no, but in a tone that pisses her off more, so she emphatically says yes, and starts working on things she doesn't even fully understand, looping back to pissing off my father even more. It happens multiple times.
It's so...
The old loop.
The old vicious cycle.
Me and my husband have tried to step between them or find middle ground solutions to keep the peace. I've tried telling my mom to calm down and let him figure it out, but she once again is feeling guilty because the project has been slow going because life happens. She refuses to listen when I tell her I'd rather let it take its time and prevent more fights and trauma, but she's taken that to mean that I don't trust her and want her off the project. Keep in mind, both of them are exacerbating the issue by getting snappy with each other in the exact way they know will get under each other's skin. Neither of them are blameless in this, but my mom keeps thinking being cheeky and stubborn is the way to go about this and is using her guilt to get anyone who tries to stop her to back off. On top of the fact that her and my dad are funding the repairs on her insistence, so that adds on the financial dependency we have that also makes it hard to set hard boundaries out of sheer guilt and obligation. And all of that has drudged up memories from my wedding. And now all I can feel is the same dread as I did then as I'm waiting for another shoe to drop. It makes it hard to put on that level of excitement that my mom thinks I should be at, which adds to her irritation. You know what I'm irritated about?
Hit me with it.
When you guys don't listen to full episodes with stories like this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime.
Man, you really hit me with that one.
Ow. Man, oh man. Your mom sucks. It also sounds like OP's husband is like, stop fighting, I don't care.
Yeah. Just like, I'm over this. Make it stop.
Please.
Also, like, if this was what the process was so terrible during your wedding, don't have this person involved in any of the processes that you are involved in anymore.
You don't have to necessarily cut her off, but like, don't involve her in any planning ever. I'm not really looking for advice on this. As I said, I just need to scream this into the void because as of late, I've just basically been repeating the same thing to my husband, and he's probably so elated about that he already knows, and the 1 or 2 people I've tried confiding in only get as far as she's paying for everything before basically shutting me down. I'm really, really trying not to be ungrateful for it, but it's hard to navigate someone who essentially wants me to take charge, but somehow also has the same exact ideas that they have without them having to convince me. I may delete this later when I've fully regretted thinking the internet wouldn't be harsh. We'll see. Thank you for reading either way. But that is the end of the episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you and see you tomorrow.